Señores y señoras, muy buenas tardes o buenos días. Bienvenido for el World Series. I'm Antoine Ave today with Jean-David Toby and Norman. I will let you spell your name, Norman.
Spell my name? Say my name. It's Norman Shindovsky. Hola,
Shindowski.
compadres and amigos and señoras. Hello, everybody. Hello, Antoine, and hello, Jean-David. How are
Hello,
you
Norman.
guys?
Hello, Antoine. Hello, everybody on the stream.
Hello, everyone. So we are today in Soria, in Soria Garay in Spain, because today we have the Women World Gliding Championship taking place in Spain. So we will talk a little bit about the women tonight and about Spain, gliding in Spain, what's going on there, and so on. So it's race 9 already, so more than halfway through the World Series 2023. It's going to be pretty interesting. We have AAT task of 2 hours, so assigned area task for those who don't know, and the pilots will have to fly through 2 big sectors, and it's kind of a mix between free flight and assigned racing task, let's say. So it's going to be interesting, and they need to fly as fast as possible for 2 hours. And that's it for tonight. 15-meter class. The previous race was in the US near Crystal. You were there together.
Yeah, we spent a good
Jean-David.
time together.
Yeah, it was really nice for me to watch as well. I was watching the live. Tim Madsen won the last race with 141 kph. Witold Rozak from Poland was second with 140 kph, and Alex Holtzwitzer from the Netherlands was flying at 135 kph. It was in standard class in the US, and today is 15-meter class. That's it.
Which is very similar to the standard class, isn't it?
That's correct. Just some more flaps. But indeed, it's just 15-meter class gliders with flaps in the 15-meter class.
That's the big difference, having the flaps. And for the people who have never, most of our viewers are people who know about soaring. They're very much aware of what to do and how to do this. But for all the people that are not out there, who have never flown or are discovering us, Condor, the FAI, the World Series of Virtual Gliding, there's different classes from sports class to classic to historic to 18-meter class to open class. And all these different classes have different criteria that help to narrow down the type of glider that are being flown. And today is the standard class and the 15-meter class, which includes flaps. And flaps is a wing that adjusts when you move the flaps, that allows you to speed up or slow down or go up higher while you're putting the flaps. It's a different way of flying rather than just with the ailerons. So there's something to be learned and to be known about how to fly flap ships. And it's a beautiful thing to know. And they're a bit better in gliding when they use a bit more flaps, and or when you're slowing down, you can move the flaps when you start thermaling. There's all kinds of techniques how to integrate flaps. Just scratching the surface here, just to give a bit information about it.
Did you fly today, Norman?
Did I fly today? The weather looks fantastic. If I could show you I could turn my camera and show you the blue sky and the cumulus clouds that we do have. We are in the summer of Florida right now, and the weather is very, very hot. We have right now 95, 96 degrees Fahrenheit. So we're in the 30s, 32, 33, 35 degrees Celsius. It's really hot. And to be honest with you, it's a little too hot to be sitting in a little canopy and the sun is just frying you up. So, it's a beautiful day to fly. But I'm not out there. Not today. Our club doesn't fly on Thursdays. They fly on Wednesdays, Fridays, Saturday, and Sunday, weather permitted.
And with this type of temperature, what is the altitude you can reach in your region of the world?
Not too high. In average, between 3 to 6,000 feet, so 1 to 2 kilometers.
Okay, that's acceptable.
That's average. More like in more 15, 45, 55. That's kind of like where we usually hang out. And during the high seasons, when we get lucky, we can go up to 7,000. I think the record here in Florida is 9,000, but that's not
That's a
high.
wonderful day. One
That's like
time,
one of those. Ooh, ooh,
one
let's
time
go.
every decade.
Yeah,
And
yeah, yeah.
yourself, Jean-David, did you fly today or the past few days?
No, same as now, man. I was at the office and I saw on Spot the Glider that every one of my friends were flying today in the north of France. It was really, really good,
It
especially
was really
going
good.
to Belgium. It was very fantastic. And I saw it from my chair. It was very difficult.
Frustrating.
Yeah, yeah, like every day
Yeah.
in the usual week.
Yeah, exactly. No, I was very lucky today. I went to the French Nationals in Coulommiers, so that's east of Paris for about 1 hour, and I was doing the sniffer. So the sniffer is
Oh,
the
cool.
guy taking off the first uh, to just sniff the atmosphere to see if it's good weather or not to fly. But obviously, it was really really good. I was with Romuald Mauvet, who is working as well on esport for FFVP, the French Gliding Association, and who was doing the scoring there. So we went together to do some sniffing, and it was amazing. We just flew 3 hours between like 11:30 local time to 2:30, 3 3 p.m. and we just did 300 kilometers really easily. It was really really good with the ceiling starting at 1,300 meters and then going up to 1,900 meters 2 hours later, and it was really great. And I didn't check the result, but I think they flew at around 135 kph average for 450 kilometers. So it was quite a good
Oh, very.
day. Yeah.
Well, let's talk about the weather in Sorian. What do we got? What's happening here in the Spanish world, in the Spanish Grand Prix, or no, the Spanish World Cup
Spanish,
series?
yeah, yeah, yeah. So we have today quite some nice weather with 12 kilometers from the west in Soria, so light wind. Very good thermals going up to 2,000 meters. The ceiling is up to 2,000 meters. As you can see, some cumulus clouds just on top of Norman, so just right there, if I'm correct. Yep. So it should be quite nice. I don't have the average value for the thermals, but probably around 3 meters per second.
The
Some
average, the average. We don't have the average today.
no, but
Not
I
yet.
think it's
We will
going to be
see.
pretty good, like around 135 indeed kilometers per hour. It was the same yesterday during the training training day. The winner flew at 137 kph, something like this. So we expect more or less the same for today.
But if you look at the clouds again over my head, they're pretty spread out. So it's not like a high cloud mass everywhere. It's really just sporadic here and there. So that's the first challenge. We do have some flatlands and we do have some hills over there. So I think it's not just a plain let's fly. So we can see, there we go. Thank you, Timothy. We can see that the landscape is not super easy, it's not like completely flat. So when you have to land out, you have to watch out where you're landing out because the landing areas are not as everywhere, even though it looks like a farmland. But we have mountains and ridges and hills and everything else over there. So it's going to be a fun little task for sure.
Yeah.
And as Antoine already said, it's an AAT task. So we have, as you can see already, the start cylinder right there. Well, that's the third turn point. I'm sorry. We have the line over here for the start, and we have cylinders that we can fly into. And depending how deep you fly into the cylinder, that it adds to your distance. And the goal is we have a 2 hour task, so a minimum of 2 hours. We have a maximum distance. I don't know what the maximum distance is, but
Uh, I'm gonna tell you that in a second. It's
mm,
between it's between two 225 kilometers to 360 kilometers in 2 hours, and the nominal, so just in between,
Yeah.
so where you can see the lines, actually the legs, it's 289 kilometers. So that's for
Okay.
2 hours, 135 kph actually, if they go
So
right in the
here's
middle.
yeah. So here's a bit of information in regards to that for understanding AAT tasks. So you have a minimum of 2 hour flight. You can fly longer if you like, because if you feel
Yeah,
like you can create more distance and speed, it's in your favor.
yeah,
But if you fly less than 2 hours, it's a penalty, right?
exactly.
And if
The minimum time will be 2 hours, indeed.
yeah, no, but you can fly less, but it's a penalty.
Exactly. So if you arrive after 1 hour and 50 minutes, maybe it will happen for some pilots who are beginners in this type of task. Maybe they will make the mistake, and then they will realize, oh, my minimum time is 2 hours instead of 1 hour and 50 minutes, and then the distance that they covered is still the same in 2 hours. So the average speed is going to be much less than what they expected and what they opt for. So it's really
Right.
important to try to make it very close to 2 hours, because sometimes you can expect more speed with 2 hours and 10 minutes or 20 minutes if you have a very good convergence line or something like this. But if you try to aim for the 2 hours exactly, you will have a very nice last glide, which will improve a lot your average speed. And that's what everyone will try to do today. It's the big thing for the day.
So the beauty about AAT tasks is that you have the variation of distance that you can fly. It gives you the option to basically pick clouds on the way rather than being like, I have to fly to that area. You have a open wide area as you can see the big rings. So you can fly anywhere in those rings, and that gives you a better freedom to find the better cloud streets or the better clouds to fly into it. So it's a bit more like flying on a Sunday having fun, except it is a task that you have to pay attention to time. And so it's fun to fly. It can be very risky because so much can go wrong when you fly an AAT test, but so much can go right for you as well, depending as to how to understand to make this right. Lots of strategic moments in this race, for sure.
Indeed. Jean-David, what do you think about the start today? Do you have some parameters from the start? Do they need is there a maximum speed for crossing the start line? Do you know that?
I haven't checked these parameters. Just see the landscape earlier, and I heard
Uh,
Norman say that there was a bit of hills, but I think they are very slow, a bit lower than in the US. And I don't think this time Janan will fly as low as it did in the previous race, or he has a magic type of flight.
I have
No.
the briefing sheet with me. So the info is 1,300 meters maximum for the start, and as usual, 170 kilometers per hour maximum speed, maximum ground speed for start. Can we have a look at the task maybe on QNAMP team? Maybe, please. Thank you. So the first leg, so everyone is around the start here, and the first leg is the one going the most southern one. Is that correct? Yeah, that's this one. That's the first one. So that's I believe 30 kilometers of diameter of radius, so 60 kilometers of diameter. I think. Because I don't have the info on the briefing sheet of that, but I think that's around that number.
They're pretty big, as you can see. They have a pretty
Yeah.
wide radius, and
Yeah.
they're both turn point 1 and 2 are the same size. And the first leg is the longest leg. And if you look at the turn point 3, it's a tiny little speck. So there's not much you can do. You just have to basically fly around it rather than straight to the finish line.
Yeah, the
Interesting
decision have to
task.
be
Again,
made
the
on
winds
the first.
coming from the west. So you have on the first leg, you have a bit of headwinds, slightly and headwinds, and on the way back, you have some tailwind. So that's also to consider. It's 12 kilometers. It's not that much. High up, we have higher winds. if you go high, but not that. I don't think we're going to go anywhere near the high winds of 50 kilometers in the high ranges because of the cloud base of 2,000 meters. Do we know how long the start gate is open? It's probably open for an hour. Is that it?
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
an hour.
I, I think
Okay,
yeah,
let's go to the start. If somebody starts already, we want to be part of that.
yeah.
And see who we got.
That was my question to Tim off off the line to to make sure. So race starts in 1 minute. So let's have a look.
Race starts in morning. That's good to know. And lots of familiar race tags that we see from 007
Oh
to
yeah.
JT. One again, JT last time had a really good flight,
Yeah, I
except
saw
that he landed
JKK
up.
also.
We see F9. It's Frank, the German, very strong usually.
Quebec, Emmanuel Cartier.
We have Kilo Mike India again, which is Tim. No, it's TMK. Sorry. We have all
Kilo
kinds
Mike
of good
India,
pilots,
it's
and we can talk
Mihaly
about them later.
Knos from Hungary.
And obviously the JS3, which is one of the 50-meter class planes, flap ships, very strong flap ships. And we have the Ventus 15 or Ventus 3 as well. These are the two competing gliders for today. So
Do you have some Diana 2 or not? No Diana 2. So that's quite surprising because usually the Diana 2 in 15-meter class is very, very popular in the 15-meter class, even on Condor. I think I would have flown on that one maybe. But the GS3 is really good in 15-meter class for Condor and in real life as well. So I can understand that. But yeah, Diana 2 has always been very, very popular. So I'm quite surprised. Maybe we'll see on the other servers tomorrow. If some of them choose that this glider.
Antoine, talk about tomorrow. We have another flight, another server, which flies the same task, and it's later. Yeah.
Yes, we have 3 other servers, if I'm correct. For the Asian guy, because there are a lot of Japanese and Australian guy flying tomorrow or during the night, and for the US as well, West Coast, I believe. So
Yeah, we're 6 hours here on the East Coast. For the West
yeah.
Coast, it's 9 hours. So it makes sense for them to rather than flying at noon for them, it's good to have a later hour so they can skip a couple of hours of work.
I think he's gonna start the
rather than
race,
skipping
Yanis
hours.
Teteris,
Yeah.
because we can see him with some speed breaks and so on, trying to get ready. We will see. He's still quite high.
Yeah, but he could speed up because he has another 20. He's close, very close to the start.
Yeah, Pierre-Jean
And I
Vincent as
wonder
well.
where he's going to go, to which cloud he's going to pick when he gets through this. And here's another person getting ready. We have here Mr. Conrad. And he is ready to go the way this looks.
Yeah,
They're very cautious about not taking over the 170 because that's a penalty right there.
Yeah, he must be careful. The wind is coming from the west, so they are going towards the west now. So it's quite okay. They can fly close to 160. Maybe it will be okay with the altitude. He must be safe. I
Boom.
think at 156.
Here's our first pilot that just started. He's immediately speeding up, probably to fly to the next cloud. And if you could see his path, we might on JT as well, both of them, and they're probably heading right for that cloud that we just went through. That one straight ahead, or the one to the left is just developing freshly over there. We'll see how this all will go. This is again an AAT task, lots of variation, and
it's
we
much
don't
more
know until the end.
Exactly, it's much more difficult to comment for us compared to a racing task, or even compared to a virtual Sailplane Grand Prix task, because in a Sailplane Grand Prix, you all know now that it's a regatta start and it's very easy for the public to follow and so on. That's more technical, and we need to explain a little bit more what is going on and so on. So it's more for the for the fans who want to know more about gliding, but it's more difficult to explain to the public who doesn't know anything about gliding for sure.
And
We
for
don't
pilots
know
also.
anything until the computer calculates it. We don't know because we don't know how much distance they have flown. We don't know what speed they have.
Yeah,
We see the speed, but we don't really know the calculation. So it's really until all the scores are in, that's when the computer tells you this is the guy who flows the longest and the fastest.
And for the pilots, it's also more complicated to fly AAT in Condor because with a standalone software, you don't have enough calculation tool to race AAT correctly. But with additional tool like CU or other stuff that can calculate your average speed and your final glide, it's easier to estimate when to start your final glide and to arrive at 2 hours flight time exactly on the final line. So here we don't have this information, and I hope that every pilot racing today have a complementary tool to estimate his final glide.
Well,
And
usually
we will see.
the onboard computer has that. No, it does give you some sort of information from to your finish point to where you are. No,
Yes, but with AT, it's more complicated to estimate where you have to fly on the turn point to finish exactly at 2 hours on the finish line. Some other tool can give you this information and when to turn in the turn point to reach the finish line at 2 hours exactly. But the original Condor tool, it doesn't give you this information. So it's it's a very useful tool flying AAT in Condor. It's not mandatory, but you have a big advantage to use this.
exactly. Guys, I'm gonna leave you for a few minutes, and I will get back later. The first glider has started and took a chance to reach the first turn point there, and we will start to see some groups forming after this start. I'm leaving you, and I will be back in a few minutes. So I'll leave you with Jean-David and Norman. See you guys.
See you later, man.
salut.
Back
All right,
together,
Jean David.
Norman.
Let's have it. The boss is gone. Let's talk.
That's now. It begins now.
But JT Yanis is, I guess, he likes the screen time since he's already the first to leave, and he's like, "Oh, I'm going to be on the live stream." Yeah, I don't think it's a strategy, but
Yeah,
he
and
always
maybe
likes to go first.
we'll take a second start to do the proper race. It was just his famous moment on the race. It's very interesting because compared to the race in the USA, I think that there are just a few people that fly after the start line to guess what the weather is today. So maybe they are more confident on what the weather will be. They hope that it will be more homogeneous than in USA. They are not so much rich flying, so they didn't have to try that. And yeah, a few pilots took the start just a few minutes after the gate is open. So I think they are more confident than the US race. Let's see.
Again, it's really this is more like an independent race because of all the variables that go into it, and so everybody when they're ready, when they see the right cloud pop in front of the start line, that's what they go for. When we look at the people behind, they know now what the average cloud will bring because they've been flying for about a half an hour in the server. They know what the average brings for different clouds, so they're waiting for the right one to pop up, fly through the start, go to the next cloud, like Pierre Jean Vincent is doing right now in PJ, and so he's going, he's finding, he's doing his thing, and then if he doesn't like it, they go back to the start and do it again because you can restart
Yeah.
for 1 hour, and so until you feel like you have the right start, off you go. So it's going to be interesting talking about this since we don't have a leader here. This is completely a technical task. I like these personally. I enjoy AAT tasks when I first flew them on Condor, I had no idea how this works, and I completely messed that up. And I'm like, okay, that
Yeah.
wasn't right, because I didn't understand the circles. I didn't understand that. I thought when you fly like in the circle and you go a little to the left or something, you create more distance, but sometimes you fly in the wrong direction inside the circle, and that's just waste of time and distance.
Yeah, I
So you
agree.
really have to understand it's a very technical task, and it's
Uh,
still this task of flying straight lines,
yeah.
preferably straight and fast. But where do you enter the circle and where do you exit it, and how deep do you go in it? And we'll see today different styles. Uh, what I have heard that usually in the first turn point, you want to fly usually as deep as possible into the first turn point, because you can then cut the corners in the others if your time's running out.
Yeah.
So you already created a lot of distance, but that's just one of many strategies.
Yeah, and it's very interesting because the strategy in AAT always change in real life, because in Condor the weather is quite homogeneous along the task, but in real life AAT are oftenly set during a day where the weather is not easy, so you have to decide depending on the weather, and it's very interesting. And there are plenty of strategy depending on the wind, depending on the airspaces. It's a lot of input to take into your mind before the flight to take the best decision during the flight. And I have to admit that I was lucky when I was a student pilot, because I had an instructor that made a lesson on the screen. It was AAT for newbies. It was very clear. He told us the first lesson is try to finish the race. The first idea is to finish the race. The second idea is to fly at least the minimum time. And after these two information and these two mandatory decision, you can try to do the best average speed that you can, but finish the race first and fly at least the minimum time. And after that, you do some strategies. But it was very, very interesting, because when I first fly the IAT in a competition, I was not afraid. I was taking it easy. I was telling myself, okay, finish, try to fly 2 hours, and after that we will think more about the strategies. But it was very interesting. Have you ever fly a AT in real life, Norman?
Yes, I have, and I shared that with you at the last at the American race. That a week or 2 weeks before the race, I was actually at the batch camp, and they were. It was my first basically competition, unofficial competition, and it was an AAT task. And on the second day of the AAT task, I actually won the task itself.
Oh wow!
I got 1,000 points, and I was like, holy moly! And uh, and it's because I've learned through Condor to navigate the wind. It was a high wind day, and so we had to literally fly always against the wind. It was a zigzag that I had to fly to be able to stay on the line to go to the center, at least to the center of the circle for the first turn. And I've done that, and due to that, I basically already won the task, because there was such a strong wind that always drifted you off, and you were all of a sudden at the wrong side, far away from the finish line, and it was a crazy day. And I just through Condor I learned it, and I won. That was great. So I was giving Condor a lot of kudos next day when we had our meeting, and people were talking about, because at those camps usually each winner of the class had a moment for a couple of minutes to talk and give their spiel or their information as to how they won that day and what they do and how they did it. So it's kind of nice. That was mine, and I
Yeah.
liked it. That was very exciting.
In this time we are in summer in the northern hemisphere, but Condor is a very useful tool in the winter days to try some new stuff. Like AAT, if you never flown one of them, you can try it on Condor, speak with other people that you are flying with, and to complete your flying on working on strategies. Condor is very, very interesting to fly some tasks like that. Okay.
I just saw PJ flying, and it's okay, we're on the screen, but PJ was just flying really close to the cloud, and he has a chance to actually get a penalty flying into the cloud, because we're not supposed to fly into the cloud. If you do, if you touch the cloud, then bam, you get penalty points, and they're quite significant on Condor. And so you can see he was like, oh, so
Yeah, very
he
close to.
realized maybe, and it's not always the smartest to literally fly to cloud base before start, no problem, but while you're in the race, usually the once you get close to the cloud base, the thermal starts falling apart a little bit, or not as strong. It's becoming weaker, and that's an art to understand. Once you realize, oh, the thermal just dropped by, let's say, rather than 3 meters on average, it's only 2.5 or 2. That's the time to go, guys. Time to leave,
Yeah.
because you want to stay in the 3 meters for the next one rather than trying to scrape up to the top. That last little 500 meters or 400 meters or 300 meters is not crucial. It actually slows you down, as a matter of fact. So what PJ just did was interesting. And we're looking at Zulu Ludwig or Zulu Lima 7, Zeljko Livanic. And he has definitely started his task. And he is, where is he at? 2,000 meters. He has good height. But if you see the landscape, this is actually a
Yeah.
nice way to see. The landscape is not flat, for sure not. Lots and lots of hills in between flat. So very interesting. So in real life, I can see that some of these hills might throw you a nice little thermal with a bit of rich energy. That never flown in Spain. Have you ever flown in Spain? I mean, it's close to France.
Yeah, but unfortunately, I haven't flown in Spain, neither in the Pyrenees, which are the mountains between France and Spain. It is too far from home, and I've flown in the southern Alps, but not in the Pyrenees. But I have some friends that are flying in the Pyrenees and in Spain, and it's very good weather too in springtime and in summertime too. I don't know if you have some information about the World Gliding Championship from the women, if they have good weather or not. I think that Antoine have more information than us on this topic. He will tell us a bit more later.
Yeah, so Soria is actually the event where we would like to talk about Women's World Gliding Championship 2023. And women in this sport have, throughout the history, always have been part of gliding. They were always there, we're always supporting and always flying. Yet in the sport, men are dominant, meaning we're way more men than women, that's for sure. But the beauty, and we talked about that last time, is the beauty in the sport is it is not so much the physical strength that allows you to win this, because it's really the mental, the knowledge,
Yeah.
the mental that you have to hold if you have to fly long distance in time. That's where you have to be strong. And wow, 15 meters up. What did he find? That's a strong, strong thermal. So that's the beauty of the sport, that you basically equal. And I love that about this. We are all just birds in the sky. And if you know and have the knowledge and the tools to do it, man, you can win. You can win, and that's the beauty, men or women. And I've seen here in the US at the seniors championship, which is you have to be 55 and older to be able to fly in the seniors, and you have to have certain points to be able to be invited to it. And the world champion female was there, and man, she won a couple of tasks, and that's awesome to see. And everybody's like, oh my God, she's here. Woo-hoo. And people were intimidated by that because she's so good.
Yeah.
That's really, really nice.
Yeah, the competitions in gliding are dedicated. Some competitions are dedicated to women, just to promote the women in this sport. But every competition else is for men and women equally. There are no men competitions. So women competitions are just to promote the sport and to to fly a woman together to know each other. It's better to help them reaching this type of sports, and it's very very interesting to see the speed they are reaching. Is absolutely the same as men, and they have a lot of talents too.
Yeah, I'm actually on their website right now. If you all want to find out about the information about the Women's World Championship, uh, it is on the website www.wwgc2023 or 2023.org. I repeat, wwgc2023.org. And there's a lot of information and about the championship and who is who and who is what. And we could definitely talk about that more. And I apologize, I wasn't prepared for this because I would really like to talk about that more.
And some of the women I know that are flying, who are flying in Spain right now, tell us that the weather is not that good, with a lot of thunderstorms right now, and we can see on the website that a lot of races have been cancelled due to the hard weather.
Oh no.
And I hope that they are enjoying the competition. And I have to say that now France is dominating the competition. To the team cup, France is first. Then Czech Republic, United Kingdom, Germany, and Spain. The team ranking is calculated depending on all the categories in this competition. So club, standard, and 18 meters. And there
All
are
right.
a lot of pilots flying. I don't
Yeah,
know
do
the
we know how many females are actually racing at that?
I
No.
try to have the information as quick as I can.
While you're looking for this, I have the overview right here with the Papa
47.
Juliet again. And so many gliders are all over the place, meaning there's no rhyme or reason why they're here, there, or there. So that's the beauty of this. If you look at this, we do start to see a bit of like a, if you look at the screen, you can see where they're going and where they're not going. Um, but it's definitely an open racetrack to go for it. And PJ now is ahead of JT. Not that it means anything really, but
Yeah.
it's going to be a lot of spaghetti in the end. Lots of spaghetti, a big bowl of spaghetti. And the question right here, since the wind is coming from the west, so basically from the left side of the screen,
Yes.
some people are already below the blue line, meaning when they are thermaling, they're going to get pushed further down. And if you're on the top side of the blue line, of the center line of the circle, you go more to the center. It's not much, but again, every meter, every distance flown or lost may or may not may give you an extra point or lose an extra point. So it's a very strategic thing. Where do you start on the start line? Where do you want to stay? Are you choosing the cloud to the right to fly further west? So next thermal, you get you might get pushed towards the center line again, rather than like if you look at the three gliders on the bottom, KZA and M2K, they got pushed to the right. If you follow the blue line of MZK, if you go back to where he was thermaling, you can see he got pushed, quite a bit. You can see that up there. He got pushed quite a bit eastward because of the wind from the west. And that's something to always consider when you're flying an AAT task. How far do you want to get pushed? Because at some point or another, that thermal, that circle that you're trying to reach ends. And then you have to fly against the wind,
Yeah.
which even slows you down more because you have no fast ground speed. So there's a lot of strategic things that are happening on this beautiful task in Spain. Very, very nice.
Yeah, and when you see the direction of the wind and where the pilots are pushed, if I was flying today, I would think that on the second turn point, I would go as far as I can in this turn point because the wind will push me back to the finish line on the final leg. And
Right.
it is some kind of stuff you have to consider when you are flying this type of task, because you choose your own way and you have to consider every parameter, and the wind is a good one, a great one to consider.
Right, right. Well, you can beautifully see that everybody who took a thermal, how far they are drifting,
Yeah,
and that's really good to know. And there's another nice view. You can
okay.
see how these,
Very
how are
interesting.
they leaning, how they're leaning, and that shows you how much you're drifting over, and that's distance lost. And my teacher always says when you're thermaling, half the time you're flying the wrong direction, you know, because half of the thermal you're going backwards. You're not going forward
That's
at
a great
all.
one.
So in competition, the enemy is the thermal. You don't want to thermal much. You want to thermal quick up and then continue straight to where you have to go. Very important. And it's beautiful to see right here how the wind is pushing you into the direction.
And Tim, can you do a half turn of the camera to see what the pilot will face in 3 minutes? Okay. So this is quite homogeneous. Here's I found a small clouds, small cumulus that is creating. So maybe the lift just creates in front of us, of them, and they decide to take this thermal instead of going to the bigger cumulus behind. That's very interesting. And after that, there are a lot of bigger and smaller cumulus.
Lots of things.
Yeah.
Timothy, sorry to ask, is there a way for you to show the scoreboard of the overall racing from the world championship that we're looking at right now? Is there a way to look at it? To see where all these glider pilots are in the ranking after 9 races or after 8 races. That would be really nice. So we have actually kind of a comparison who's flying and where we're at. And it gives you a better idea who these people actually are today. How many pilots do we have on the course today? 29?
I think you asked Tim too many things at the same time.
Yeah.
Okay,
We have
33 pilots.
33 pilots. All right. So that's a pretty nice, pretty good group of competitors. And it seems like everybody's staying up pretty high. It seems like the thermals are pretty strong. Right now we're seeing an average, so it seems like a task that's very much doable. It's really how far do you want to go, and remember those 2 hours, right? It's a 2-hour flight, give or
Strong.
take.
You have to be strong mentally.
Right. You want to fly fast for 2 hours
Very
and
hard.
and don't fly half the distance while you're thermaling too much.
And on the overall ranking, there are 145 pilots that have flown at least one race, so they gain at least 1 point. But on the top of the ranking, you can find the name that we usually see: Kilo Mike India Mihalik Nos from Hungary, Charlie November, Norbert Kist, also from Hungary, Alpha Mike, Arne Martin Guttler from Norway, and on the fourth position, Romeo Echo Delta, David Redman from Australia.
Yeah, it'd be lovely to see that if we can put that on the screen. That would be lovely to see, and if Timothy is able to
Yeah.
do that.
Okay, send the link to Timothy. I have to thank Timothy for all this work, because I've been in the backstage for a few hours or two, and it's quite hard to manage every view, every software. It's a real stressful job, and I thank him for this job.
Yeah, he's
But,
the invisible man. He's the one
yeah,
that you
yeah.
don't see, but you see everything because of him. So very nice to have him there. Thank you, Timothy, and Ah,
And
okay. So you guys don't hear him, but we have him in our ear. So he's telling us he's blushing right now because of all the lovely compliments that I've been making. So, um, we keep forgetting you guys don't hear him. We have him on our ear. He's talking to us if we have something to say that we need to say, and or we ask him questions and he answers. So all the background information that we're sharing with you guys is because Timothy is giving us all the backgrounds that we need. And since we're still a young crew for the FAI, we're still learning how to be better commentators, how we are better prepared for you guys, so we can really have a very informative flight that will help. And this is basically our test year, because next year we want to be official. Next year is going to be the official FAI World Series, meaning there's no more mistakes. We want to be kind of spot on. And so we're learning as to how to be a good crew, how to be a good streaming team for you people out there who love soaring, who love this sport. And thank you for being here. Really appreciate it. We always talk about Twitch and YouTube, which are the two channels where you're basically able to see us and where you can communicate with us via the chat. And Jean Davis, is anybody there talking to us, or can you
right
see that?
now, there is Mark Till talking to us. He said that he sent us a few informations that the radius of the two turn points are 25 kilometers. And he speak about the external PDA that are a great tool to do AAT optimization, as we were speaking about that earlier. But yeah, for every viewers right now, feel free to send a message, to say hello, to thank Timothy for his information, or just to tell us that we are doing a great job, or to tell us what we could do better. As you said, we are a young team and we are always looking for new ideas to make the commentary more interactive, more funny, more everything, just to do a better show and to enjoy this moment with you. So feel free to send a message, uh, to do to say whatever you
Yeah.
want.
Do we have still pilots in the start area, or did everybody start? I mean, the window opened about 30 minutes ago. Antoine, if you have a moment and show us back at the start, see where we are, see what's cooking. Is anybody still back there thinking to find the right cloud, or do we have all 33 pilots in the sky? And it looks like Zulu Lima 7 is the last one to take off. Okay, and then we
Yeah,
have the rest of the family choosing to be on the southern side, on the southeast side of the straight line, of the blue line that is the center line to the turn point one. And
maybe
if I can
there is
see
a street of cumulus cloud in this region, because it's very interesting that a lot of pilots have chosen this way.
right, we have a
Maybe
few that are flying the opposite. They're flying like you have Julio Echo Zulu and 007, who are definitely taking the further west route, and they seem to have found something there. But the majority, as you can see, is right here, that line where they are definitely finding that same cloud street and basically following the leaders. And F9, which is, I think it's Frank. No, that's Frank is 09. F9 is, oh, what's his name? He's a German,
F9. I'm looking.
and he's a very good pilot. He's an older gentleman. I've flown with him many times on Condor.
F9
And
is Helmut Kühn
Helmut, that's right,
from
Helmut.
Germany.
He's a retired pilot, and he shows you how to do it right. He's one of the best German Condor pilots for sure. I've learned a few tricks from him, and he's a nice guy. And he look at him; he's basically in the bottom three of people leaving the gate, and I'm pretty sure he has his reasons for it. He usually waits for that right cloud to pop before he takes off. Just that. But it's interesting to see. We have a few in the center line, a few on the top, and then the most on the bottom. So that's their strategy. You can learn from that and see if that plays out in the end. Thank you, Timothy, for showing us that screen. Let's go back into the 3D world and see what the clouds tell us. There we go. So Pierre Jean Vincent again. He seemed to be one of your favorites, um, and he has found a decent vario, a decent climb. But some other guys have already passed them, and they're higher. Interesting. We're talking about Delta Lima Delta or Mike 2 Kilo. They're ahead of him, but they were behind before they started. So you can tell that these guys have flown more distance faster. Not that it means anything right now, but they are definitely faster right now.
And speaking of altitude, the pilots are between 1,800 meters to 3,000 meters, just to have a range. Juliet Kilo is 3,000 meters right now.
Wow, and didn't they say that the base of the cumulus clouds is 2,000 meters, and now we're flying at 2.5 to 3,000? Okay, so
maybe it's from the ground, maybe it's the height of the cloud base, but here I think we are speaking about medium sea level. So the ground may be 1,000 and the pilots are at 3,000, I think.
and look, he's pretty low. So yeah, if he's up 1,700 meters, that
Yeah.
mountain, that hill like there looks a little closer than 1,700 meters, in my opinion. So so we have definitely the Earth is higher. The Earth is higher. So because that looks pretty close to the Earth that he's flying right there. So and he's he's been gliding for quite some time. If he can follow his tail, and he found something right there. We'll find out how good that thermal is because he needs some height. He needs 1,000 meters right now. And maybe that's why he's leading, because he had a long glide without stopping for any thermals. I mean, this looks like a really strong thermal. Look at that. 13 meters, 9 meters, 6 meters, 3 meters. Okay. He probably bled off a lot of speed. Okay. That's what
And
it was.
around Dennis here, the ground is about 1,200 meters. And Mark Till on the YouTube comment is confirming this information. Ground elevation is around 1,200, and he's telling us that Mark Till is our professional Condor setupper, and he said that the cloud base is about ground level at the start airport. So we were about right before.
Right. So we have 1,200 meters above sea level, and then plus 2 kilometers of cloud base, which ends up to be about 3,000, 3,200, 3,500 maximum, right? So that's why. And so when we see Delta Lima Delta, who was down to 1,800, that means he was basically down to 600 meters, 1,800 feet. And that's if you had 400 meters, you look for a field.
Yeah.
You look for something to land on at the latest.
And thank you, Mark, for all the information you can send us on the chats. I have to thank Mark also. He's one of the people on the team who work on the backstage also on the day. He's setting the task. He's setting the QNAM view on the map and a lot of other things. I won't tell her here because it should be very, very long to say what everything that Mark is done. So thank you, Mark, for everything you do on this team and on the comments also. Thank you.
Hello, guys. I'm back with you.
Oh,
It was a surprise.
what a
What
surprise!
did I
Like at
miss?
first, like out of the egg, boom, like an omelette. You
No,
just showed up.
it's magic. That's very difficult to be a magician today.
So I'm looking again. I'm looking at a Delta Lima Delta, Denis Durand. His vario average doesn't look like a very strong thermal. It's very unreliable. It goes up to 5 meters and then down to 0 meters. So it's a very, he has not found the center, it looks like. So very, very interesting. Lots of height, lots of none. So
Yeah, he
Mm.
still climb. He can climb like this. Yeah,
yeah, but
it's
you
really
can
good.
see how wavy it is of the tail. Like,
Yeah.
yay, no, yay. You go, beep, 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 beep. It's like, hey. You don't want to hear that. You like to have that steady sound, beep, 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 when you're going up. That's ideal. But and now we see also 3 Juliet over there in the distance, and who has a nice height and is right now leading the pack. And the M2K Marcin Riget or Rigue, uh, also looking like he has a good. He's the top three soarers right now. He's just found a little lift right there. I don't know if he's taking it or not, but it looks pretty good. Surprised he didn't take it. Oh man, he
Tim,
just flew to a brand new cloud. That would have been a good one.
Timothée, when ready, can you go to QNAM so that we can check a little bit where we are in the race in between the start and leg one, and just to see the gaggles and the groups that are there, who are the leaders, outsiders of this race now. Who do we have? So we are halfway, a little bit more than halfway through the first leg. Can you zoom in to check what are the groups, the small groups that we have? So the first one, we are talking about them for quite some minutes now. We have Zulu Bravo Yankee behind. Can you zoom on Alpha Echo X-ray, please? The big gaggle in the, yeah, exactly. So we have Marcin May, Arne Martin Guttler, Witold Rozak, Alex Holtzfilder, Emmanuel Cartier, and that's an Australian guy, Romeo Papa Hotel, Romeo Papa Bravo, sorry, as well. So those guys are really, really good. And behind them, we have the Germans with Oscar 9. We have Cheese and the 007. They're up there. And Fox 9 is a German pilot as well, Frank, I believe.
Now
Okay.
Helmut is F9 and
Yeah,
O9 is Frank.
correct.
Yep.
And Juliet Kilo Kilo is Jarmo from Finland. He's qualified to the virtual Sailplane Grand Prix final, by the way. Did we talk yet about the woman in gliding?
Have at it. We started to talk
Yeah.
about it, and
Just a little bit, yeah.
Yeah. So basically, we are looking for more women in gliding, as you can see, as it's the same for a lot of sports. Actually, there are a lot of commitments from different ministry in different countries of the world, in France as well, obviously, to try to get more women more women in the sport. So they have well, in the World Gliding Championship, you have the pilots who qualified through the nationals. So today there is a French nationals in 18-meter class and open class, for example, in France. And in Germany, it's the same. You can qualify if you win or if you are on the podium, and then the next year or the following year you will go to the world final, the world championship. Sorry, but as there are much less women, it's more difficult sometimes to get on the very top on those senior tasks. So on the mixed championships, though they created separate rankings in those nationals or separate championships just for women, so that they can get a good ranking, and then they have access to the Women World Gliding Championship, and they can go there to try to improve and fight at an international level, and then they can try to come back on the senior World Championship to try to beat all the people that are there. And it's really difficult because we don't have enough women, so the level is obviously lower than it has to be, and we need to bring much more women in the sport to bring that level up, and to increase the popularity of gliding amongst the people and amongst women, because we really like to have a woman at the airfield and so on. It's really nice for the atmosphere, for the clubs, and definitely we would like to have more women in the competitions. In France, there are a lot of support for that, and it's really good. But it's more difficult sometimes for other countries. In Poland as well, I think they help quite a lot the women, and it's really good to have them. At the end of June in France, there is always an event called in French it's Saplan Poel, but in English, how can we translate that, Jean David?
It
Like
glides for her,
yeah, it glides
for women,
for all
for
for women, for all the girls. And actually it's a special event where the all the girls can come to the airfield, and they can fly and try gliding at a very low price, like at least half the price of a normal flight, and they can try to come to the airfield. So there are some things that are done like this, so that the women can try come, and hopefully they can stay at the club, and make women in gliding be more powerful, and yeah, it's something everyone is looking at, and looking for. We lack women, and we want to have much more women in the sport. So the world's women world gliding championship is every 2 years, and this year it's in Soria in Spain, where we are. So Soria, I don't know if you know about it, but it's basically in just in between the Pyrenees mountains that are between France and Spain, and Madrid, which is the capital of Spain. So more or less in the middle of Spain, Madrid. So it's in the first part of Spain if you're going from north to south, basically. And it's yeah, right in the middle of Madrid and the Pyrenees. Really good um, landscape. As you can see, I really like to fly above it as well. In real life, it's an amazing landscape. They don't have a lot of gliding in Spain. That's something I've never understood, but I think that's because of the support from governments in different countries, like again France, Poland, Germany. You can have support from governments, sports ministry, and so on to make the people fly. But I think in Spain it's quite different. There are only a few airfields in Spain. You have Soria that have suffered from well, it was nearly closed. There's been some threats against the airfield because they wanted to close it at some time a few years ago. It was more or less the same for La Cerdania, where there were a lot of sailplane Grand Prix in La Cerdania. So that's right in the Pyrenees. Very famous for the pilots there. The glider pilots, they love flying to La Cerdania, and there's been a big support for La Cerdania last year, the past 2 years, so that it does not close completely, because the politics there, political people want to close it. And in the south of Spain, then you just have maybe one or two airfield in Andalusia and so on. There are really not a lot of airfield, and often uh, very old gliders. So it's difficult. There is another one close to Madrid, northeast of Madrid, I believe, which is quite okay, but they are missing some support in the gliding community in Spain, unfortunately. So I'm really happy to be here tonight. I lived in Spain for almost 2 years, so it was not really brilliant at the beginning of the stream. My Spanish, but I'm quite tired tonight, so apologies for that. But yeah, it's a lovely country with lovely people, and I hope that in some years they will be able to develop more gliding in Spain, because it really has a uh, good capabilities to develop in that country, with a lot of people that probably are interested to fly. So we need to attract both women and pilots in Spain. So that's the
I
main
think that
point
counts
for.
for every country,
Yes,
Antoine. I
but
mean,
especially for Spain, because there are a lot of inhabitants in Spain, and a lot of people could fly, and
the
really
weather is okay.
the weather is really amazing, and you can fly almost every day. But there's not enough support, not enough gliding clubs there. So
I know
that's a
you
bit
you you
difficult.
you scratched on that part as to how do you get a male or female,
Yeah,
especially female, engaged into gliding. It is a privileged sport.
yeah,
It's yes, in social democratic countries like France or Germany or Poland, or lots of support from the government or from the community that tries to get these young pilots into gliding. Um, and yet it is amazing how small of a niche market this actually is, how specific and special gliding is. And to get people, young adults, women as well as men, involved in gliding, the interest is there, but then life kicks in and it takes away from, because it takes a lot of time,
yeah.
and that it takes a lot of time to be a
Uh,
pilot.
it, it- it's often like well, that's why first of all, that's why there's this virtual gliding thing as well. It's to bring some people in the sport first of all, and then to keep the people who cannot come to the club anymore because they have children or they have health issues as well, and so on. So we want to keep them in the sport, and a lot of people flying virtually are doing this mostly because of that. They already know gliding because they tried it when they were younger or thing like this, and then they keep flying here because it's the only way for them to still fly for some years, and then they come back later when the kids are have grown and are like 15 or 20 years old. It's often like this in gliding, but hopefully we can change that. But as you said, it takes a lot of time, and yeah, when you get married and so on, sometimes you don't have the time anymore to to do
Yeah.
that with work as well. When you are 30, 35, 40 years old, and you're bringing everything together, sometimes you don't have time to relax and go gliding just 1 or 2 days,
Yeah.
as you said, Norman. So yeah, it's a challenge for everyone. And just to catch up with the comments on the stream,
Yeah, I
Mark
see
is
Mark Till
saying,
saying PJ is low. So PJ over there has
yeah,
only had 300 meters left. So he better find some thermal. Otherwise, we have our first outlanding for the day. Um, so we have to keep an eye on that. If you don't mind, go to PJ,
Yeah,
Antoine, uh, Timothy, and we can
but
see where he's at. He's looking.
BJ is first speaking about distance flown. That's
yeah.
that's a critical moment for him.
If you see we see the shadow on the thing, so there should be. Oh man, there's a new one as well. There are clouds in his vicinity that might get him back up, but boy, he is definitely took the risk, and he probably was hoping that maybe the ridge would kick in, but with 12 kilometers per hour westerly wind, it ain't gonna be giving you anything. You have to have at least 18 to
He's
20
climbing,
kilometers of
he's
wind
climbing.
for the catch up. He found something, and he might saved himself. So thank you,
Wow.
Mark Till, for pointing it out. And it's actually a good thermal the way it looks. So save, maybe.
Whew.
But yeah, to go back to memberships of clubs and participants in real world as well as in the virtual world, I think this tool Condor has a huge opportunity to bring a bigger market mass into actual real flying, real gliding, real soaring. And so it's a beautiful tool that is being developed as we speak. I mean, we're still waiting for the new Condor 3 that should be coming out anytime now.
Yeah,
Uh,
we are all waiting for that. I remember when we started to talk about it in during the virtual SGP final in 2021. But I think everyone is working on it now because I bet my bet is that they want to release it this year. So I don't think it's going to be ready this summer. Uh, but I hope for the winter it's going to be released, and hopefully for next year, because we have the first World Gliding Championship, the first official one next year, and we need to prepare quite a lot of stuff for that as well. And if Condor 3 is out, it will be much better to organize that on the new platform. Yeah, as you know, I've seen some part of it, and it's gonna really increase the experience for the pilots, and I think it's gonna light up the virtual gliding world, really. So I'm really looking forward to this. Obviously, it's gonna be much better for us organizers, for the pilots, and for the fans watching as well. There are a lot of improvements everywhere on all fields, so it's really good.
And we'll see if this technology that they're working on will help the overall the women soaring in Spain or in general in Spain or anywhere else in the world. I mean, like if I go to our club, I see 20 men and I see maybe one female pilot.
Yeah.
And that's probably the ratio all over, that 20-1. Lots of female support from wives or girlfriends that are there to help the club in itself, to be part of the club. Always there, always present. But the actual flying is obviously 20-1, and that's I would love to see more women, because I said earlier, you weren't there, Antoine, is that in this sport, it doesn't matter if you're a man or a woman. So I'm actually surprised that we have a female championship and a male championship. Why are we separating that? I don't understand why.
But actually, as I said, basically in the general championship, like the main one, they are not separated, but there are not enough women who have the level to compete and to be qualified to the main world championship. So they created a separate championship for the women, like they're doing for the juniors, for example. They're doing the same for the juniors, so that they can get more experience, and they try to have a very good training to win the nationals or to make a podium to qualify then to world championship. So for a world championship, usually you have 50 pilots per class, and maybe you have between 3 to 6, 7 women per class maximum. So it's getting better and better, but you need to have those separate events so that they can grow and get more experience on the international level. Because if they just fight in between the 15 who are doing the competition in France, for example, it's going to be always the same ones who are going to win and so on. So they need more exposure to the international pilots as well, so they can improve their flying and get ready for big events and big challenges.
Yeah, it's the big question. How how can you motivate people? How can you get people to get into this sport? And again, it's such a unique thing to fly. I mean, but there's one thing that came to mind, that the FAA, here, the American
Aviation Authority,
the FAA in America, just allowed the first car company to have a flying car certified to fly.
Oh yeah, I've seen that.
Right?
Yeah,
and so my first question that came about is like, so if the FAA allows a car to fly, does that mean you have to have a pilot's license to be able to drive this car? Bam. And here's an entryway for all glider pilots to have an advantage, to be able to, in the future, to be able to fly a car. If you have to have if you have to have an FAA license, the gliding way is one of the most affordable ways to be able to be officially a pilot, right? And then you have just an add-on for your car. Bam. And all of a sudden, this might become the sport to get the entry level of pilots to be able to go later on and step into your little electric XXX car, and off you go. And you go to, I fly from Toulouse to Lyon, I don't know, something, just have fun. I mean, how cool is that? So here we go. Jean-Yves Titras tries his famous gliding on the ridge. See he has any luck there. I don't think he does.
Yeah, and it's very interesting back to the race, because they are reaching the first turn point and the first sector of this race. And maybe I thought that, Tim, you can show us the average speed on the first leg, because after that, Condor will not be able to tell us precise average speed, as Condor is calculating it from the points where they are entering in the sector. Okay, so thank you, Timothy.
So Victor Romeo Victor Vitold is the fastest right now, but 136 kilometers per hour.
I'm not surprised.
No, I'm not either.
The man is good. For those who don't know, Vitold has been the top one pilot for quite some years, and he's in between top one or top two, depending on the years for like 10 years. So he is one of the best, if not the best pilot in the world. So
So
obviously
number
he's
20 here,
always the
Golf
top.
Hotel Kilo is also 136.7 kilometers per hour. I don't know who that is, as a matter of fact, but he obviously is the same speed as Vitold, and he's even faster. He's 137. Can we tune on him? The ranked number 20 Golf Hotel Kilo. I want to see who that man is.
Golf Hotel Kilo. Oh, that's nice.
Oh, here we go. And Frank just went right above him. It's like, oh, I don't want to crash into you. So those guys, he just flew right through the thermal. And Stuart Henschel. Oh, Stuart. He's the English guy, the British guy. Stuart, of course. Very strong
Yeah.
glider pilot. I have seen him on the British channel, on Discord. He's very busy there flying, and very strong pilot, and obviously strong speeds. So nice. And there's Frank Schwertfeger, very very active Condor pilot. Has he qualified yet, or is he always on the edge?
For the final, for the world final?
Yeah.
No, it's done. So let's talk. Maybe you can talk about it in between 2.1 and 2.2. But basically, we've sent the official invitation with Peter Eriksson, the president of the International Gliding Commission. It was last week. So we've sent 20 invitation to the 20 pilots who qualified to the world final event in Pavulo. 18 qualified through the qualifying virtual sailplane Grand Prix, because we've had 9 virtual sailplane Grand Prix, and there were 2 places left. The first place left is for Ben Fest, obviously the world champion, who qualified automatically, and the second place is it's taken from the rules. So if there is one place left, we can attribute it to anyone who competed to an event. So if there was a woman, maybe we would have go for that. But we selected the best third place. So best number 3, best podium in points. Okay, looking at the points of all 9 virtual sailplane Grand Prix. So the one who deserved the most to be qualified, and he still needs to accept the invitation. So I'm not gonna say who is it, but everyone knows already in the group of 20 pilots, because we are having a private discussion with the 20 pilots to prepare the event together, to exchange, to make sure that they understand the rules and so on. So everything is almost ready. We'll talk about it later in the second, in between the first and second leg. Anyway, the position of everyone on Cunham now. So some of them are inside turn point 1, and the
Yes.
radius is 25 kilometers. Said Mark. Okay.
Yeah, 5
And
pilots entered the first leg, the first sector.
yeah.
So first off, and I'm looking at this,
Okay, that's really good.
everybody
Okay.
chooses to get pushed down the line, meaning entering the circle southwest. Southeast of the
Yeah, I
circle.
think that's because of the reach. That's what
Yeah.
we are having here, because the wind is pushing from the west. So it's not that bad, and they can just go to the ridge, go maybe as far as they can, and then they can, when they are in the second sector, they can just make it shorter, and just go back home without going in the middle or further away. So that's not a bad option, and it shows that some of the pilots, if not all pilots, really checked what was the tasks tonight, and they briefed correctly to try to do a good performance tonight. So that's really good to see it like this, actually.
Right. and here you can see perfectly how Pierre PJ, sorry, how he was looking for thermals because he was so low. Then he found a thermal, he flew backwards, and then he had to fly back. So he totally lost time and space and distance.
Mhm.
Uh, so that's not a good thing during a competition like this.
But
But now we can see if we follow the line, we definitely now have a spaghetti thing that's becoming one long line. Everybody seems to be flying on a similar course, as you said, trying to fly the ridge. If there's any extra wind or any extra thermals on the ridge, because it's not a ridge flight. Ah, that's a beautiful view right there. It gives you the exact reason why they're flying the way they are. And Condor has gotten so good that that cloud formation happens near or around that ridge at that cone. So usually it's slightly better uplift, updraft when you're on the right side of the ridge, and they seem to follow it.
That's really good.
And we will see how deep they're going into this turn point, because Jean David said earlier it might be smarter to fly deeper into the second turn point because of the wind direction that we're dealing with. Because on
Yeah.
the way
yeah, but
back from turn point 2 to home, you have that wind on your tail sideways, but it's on your tail. So any thermal that you do have to take, it's in your favor. So maybe it is good to fly into turn point 2 deeper. Uh,
Yeah, but
or is it
looking at
right?
this map right now, it's make
Yeah.
me a little bit change of mind because they have a long way straight to the end of the first sector to go straight. And if they are flying along the ridge, maybe they can fly 20 to 30 kilometers straight without circling. And as you said, thermal is a loss of time. You fly halfway to back in the wrong direction. So maybe they will use this ridge as long as they can or not. We will see.
Again, with 12 kilometers per hour, that ridge will not really support you too much. It may reduce the sink, but you're definitely not going to get lift. It's not strong enough. I don't think so. You have to
Yeah.
have at least 15 to 18 kilometers per hour wind of being able to
Yeah,
get some sort of good lift.
in real life, but in Condor with 12 kilometers per
Yeah.
hour, it's already quite good.
Hmm.
That's something that the pro of Condor that are flying tonight they know. Uh, uh, Starting from I think Mark can tell, but starting from 9 kilometers per hour, I think you can still stay up there, and it's almost double. We say it's double the wind. So it's half the wind in Condor that you need to put to replicate the real life wind. Because when we do the virtual Saint-Plain Grand Prix and we replicate the real task, real weather, and so on, they often need to just half to insert half the wind, because otherwise the ridge are too strong, and it's way too good. The weather is way too good for the pilots afterwards. So
Nice.
it's gonna change in the future, but that's how Condor 2 works for now.
Good.
Even though following the ridge can help the pilots doing better transition between thermals, and maybe the ridge is creating some thermals along the way, so it will be easier to find better thermals. We will see if they follow it for a long time or not.
I don't know. I'm looking. Am I seeing this correctly? That Delta Lima Delta just went from a left thermal to switching around to make a right thermal. He's now flying against the. Or am I seeing this wrong?
Yeah, you're correct. I'm watching it on big screen on my left, and yeah, that's correct. And I think now maybe he's turning left again. I think he's turning left again now.
Okay. Okay.
The
Yeah.
authorities are spotting them.
Oh yeah, now he's right. Okay.
So he's
I was
totally
watching on
something
your.
that
Yeah,
is
yeah.
Yeah. not
absolutely
not
bad
not
in the
correct.
thermal world
Not correct at all. Yeah.
because terrible.
Yeah. He would be
Look at that. I mean, my
he would
goodness,
get
you just
a big penalty for that
this
in
is
real
this
life and
this
in
is what can
official
cause
championship.
flight collisions because you're
Yeah.
flying against the thermal, against the traffic, and it's such a high
That
risk and
Yeah, that's the
not what
worst.
the rules are.
Yeah.
That's not good.
Yeah, this ridge is pretty good. When you look at it, it gives some energy, not a lot, but probably some energy with the wind. And maybe in next condor you will have some convergence lines with those kind of ridges. So that's really nice to see. Really nice.
Right,
But
right.
Spain is amazing, and we need definitely to have more gliding there. When you look at this, honestly, it's a beautiful landscape. It makes me think about the in the southern Alps, the Luberon. The Luberon looks like this, actually. That's a very famous a mountain in Provence. And then not far from it, you have all the lavender fields. The yeah,
I'm looking at Vitold right now, and his average sink rate is between 1.2 minus 1.2 to now it's
yeah,
more, but it seems like he was definitely flying in lesser sink, so that was really
yeah.
nice, and he's in a good position.
But he's seen some people thermaling, so now braking to the right to try to catch something good.
Yep,
And
and it's
guys,
always JT in the front is always flying the ridge as low as he
Yeah,
can.
but the
That's what he
first
does.
pilot have reached the second sector.
Right.
PJ has decided he took another strategy and he just passed through the first sector and he went right to the next turn point.
Yeah, I
And
saw that when we went back to the screen that he chose to
yeah,
go just nick the first turn point and is now flying towards second turn point. And it makes sense. He's already flying for an hour, and he thinks, well, I have to take an hour back. So he might just think it's time for him to cut it short and don't fly the distance.
so very interesting to see another strategy, another big group creating right now with 3 pilots. Okay, there you can see all the people who are flying the ridge, and it's very clear that they are following it. On the map, you can
yeah.
see a pink a pink line just drawing the ridge on the background, and autopilot all the way, just following it. It's just like a GPS path they are going through. And if you,
What I find amazing is that Victor Vitold is so far up front
yeah,
already. He was one of the
Yeah.
ones that started late, and he's already
yeah,
basically has flown second most distance. That's a really great catching up.
amazing,
If you go
amazing.
further north, Timothy, we can see the people that have chosen to leave the first thermal. You get the first. There we go. You can see that their tactic is just scratch the first cylinder, enter it, and leave it, and go to second. So PJ, as an example, who has now touched the second circle, the second turn point, technically speaking, could fly home, and he could score if he's not too fast, meaning under 2 hours, which would deduct more points. Whereas these guys on here that we just talked about are definitely going for the distance. Let's see how far south they are going to go before they decide to turn around and fly straight north.
Mm.
We'll see. And once you're in the sector, in this case the first turn point, um, it only makes sense to fly distance. If you start looking around and going zigzagging anywhere in here, not a good idea. You just want to go constantly, in this case, this way, constantly follow that ridge if you mean to all the way over here to the end, maybe right there.
Yeah.
And that's when you turn around and fly back. So
Mm.
that's for turn point one. Let's see how far they really stretch this before they say, hey, I'm going to time, it's time, 2 hours, time to go home.
Will they
So
fly north directly, or will they go back on the ridge and just pass the second circle and just go on the shortest way to go to the finish line? I don't know. It depends on the energy they can gain on the ridge.
big questions. If you look at M2K, you can see that he's in the center of this task, and So he has chosen to fly more towards the center of the turn point, and so he might be able to fly further into the second turn point, because the later the day, the thermals usually build up a little bit, become stronger. I don't know if Condor is that sophisticated yet,
Yes.
that towards the later afternoon it becomes stronger.
Yeah, and then it goes down. Yeah.
And Mark Till says on YouTube, he's like, yep, they're probably going to fly back to the ridge, then fly northeast towards the second sector. So that's his guess and his support of
Yeah, we
information on
we
Mark.
didn't hear you very well. Yeah, he said fly to the ridge goal, we fly back the ridge, then fly northeast to the second sector. You had a cut in mic. Yes, I think indeed they will try to go as far as they can on that ridge before just cutting the second turn point and go back home probably. So I think that's a good point, because when you look at Vitold again, 210 kilometers per hour, that's really good, and 2,400 meters, guys, 2,400 meters above sea level.
On
Really
turn
nice.
point 2 or turn point 1?
Oh, that's just instant speed. I mean, not average speed.
Okay. Yeah, we're looking at this, and you see that little line that goes through the screen, which indicates the turn point circle of 25 kilometers. It's just a haze of a different blue color that indicates we're inside the turn point right now. Hard to see. And is this the moment when Vitold is turning right or turning back? Nah.
Are just following the ridge. That's amazing. This view that we have here on the glider. So that's the GS3 Junker sailplane glider, GS3 in 15-meter class, obviously. And yeah, it's an amazing glider. Very nice, nicely built, aerodynamic, really amazing. It looks like Formula One to me. When you look at this, it's I really like it. I really like it.
I wouldn't mind having one of those myself. Super duper.
Yeah. So basically, the best ones here in 15 meters nowadays are the GS3 that you have in front of you. Then you have the AS 33, Alexander Schleicher from Germany as well. You have, so that's from South Africa, the GS. And then you have the Ventus 3 that we have here, that went out some years ago, a few years ago. Really nice glider from Schempf Earth in Germany. Really cool. And it's a shame we don't have Diana to show you tonight, because it has a very different wing than those ones. Yeah, really nice gliders. Really nice. And they are
Yeah,
all
but
following the
those are
ridge.
the privileged gliders. Those gliders nowadays cost brand new, what, 150, 200,000 euros?
Yeah, that's the
And
price for it.
considering in the 70s and 80s, especially in the 80s when soaring became very popular, you could buy a high performance glider like an ASW 20, an LS4, or any of those gliders that just came out in the 80s. You could buy them for 20, 30,000,
Yeah.
40,000 max,
A-
brand
and that's
new.
still the price for it
Today, right? You buy an
nowadays. Yeah.
LS4 for
Yeah.
40,000.
Uh,
Uh,
yeah.
it's amazing how long the value of a glider has lasted, and the quality
Exactly.
and the
Exactly. And the
quality.
quality of it, the quality of building a glider and so on. And it's when we've done the studies on carbon, how much carbon does it uh, does it put in the atmosphere to build a glider? Actually, it's almost carbon neutral, because you use it for so long that it has no impact on your carbon
Footprint.
profile. If you need to check all of your data and so on in 2050, as they say in Europe and so on, to be carbon neutral. But a glider, it has a lifespan of 40, 50 years, even more. So it's absolutely crazy when you see that. And the price is almost always the same, going up and down from time to time due to handicaps, sometimes in the values of the FAI and IGC when they change the sporting values, sporting handicaps of the glider. Basically, it's always more or less the same from when you buy it to when you sell it 20 years later. It's really crazy. Yeah,
Well, but Antoine, I have to say the carbon footprint, it is the same no matter if it's today or 50 years from today. You
yeah,
created that carbon footprint.
yeah,
It is
exactly.
created. It
Yeah,
doesn't disappear just because it's distance. It's still
exactly.
there. No matter
But
how much you use it, you still it's there.
exactly, but when they calculate, that's something really weird, huh, in my opinion. But I'm not the one to make who made those calculations. But they say that to say that it's neutral, it has to be used for at least 15 years, something around it. So they
Right.
say that if you use this, it's been uh, compensated over the time because you are not using another one or something like this.
I completely understand. I mean, like,
Yeah,
so if you buy a fiberglass or carbon plane, it's proven that these, if you take care of it, if you make sure it's always polished and it's
yeah,
parked right and it doesn't get banged up, these gliders can fly equally good as they did on day one. And that's the beauty of it. I have a 50-year-old glider. It's
Yeah.
built in 1974,
and it's
and
still
that
amazing. Yeah, it's
it's
amazing
an
to fly, and
incredible
it's
glider.
so beautiful. Your label
Right.
is amazing. Yeah,
I love it, and that's the beauty of gliding. Uh, and it's something I've learned that you may be the owner of the glider when you buy it, but actually, what you really are, you are the caretaker of the glider. And then when it's time
yeah,
to step on to the next one, you pass on this glider to the next pilot, and you just took care of it. And that's the beauty of it. You take care of it for 5 to 10 years or 2 years, and then you say, you know what, Lebel was good. It's time to step up. I want a bit more glide ratio. I want a bit more
yeah,
technology. Boom. I buy myself into an ASW 27 or something like this, or a Ventus 3. Hey, and you're saying, yep, and you just pass on this beautiful piece of machinery that it
but
will last you forever if you take care of it. 400 years, I think these things can last before they fall apart.
probably, but
We'll,
that's
we'll see.
absolutely that's absolutely yeah. We will see. That's absolutely crazy. When you look at a car next to this, when you're buying a brand new car, the next day after you've bought it, it's just half the price. The value is lost already. It more or less. Well, in Europe it's like this. I know in the US it's a bit different, but in Europe it's more or less like this. It's
I don't
crazy.
know. When
It's
you bought a
crazy.
car in 2018, 2019, and that was something you want to buy in 2020, you could have sold that car for more than you bought it because everybody needs a
Not in
car all
Europe.
of a sudden.
Not in Europe.
Not Europe.
Not for us.
Totally different.
No, no.
Well, the problem in France is that you have freaking 19% interest
But that's
tax.
interesting too here, actually.
So 20% went to the government, and you sell it again, it goes 20% again to the government. And if you sell your car 5 times, which could happen, you pay for the car 5 times to the government. I mean, full time, full price. But that's a whole other conversation we're not going to go into because we want to stay politically correct and neutral. Um, but the beauty of owning a glider, 50 years old or 2 years old, it's the technology that's in it that makes it upgraded. If you have a big screen with all the navigation in it, all the computer chips and all, but in the end, it's still the pilot who has to fly. It's the pilot who has to looking at the beautiful clouds and the nature and knowing how to read the nature and feel the nature and fly with the nature. And that's the beauty of gliding. And if we can bring that forth through the virtual world and get people enthusiastic about it, say, I want to try this in real life, I can only encourage you because you'll be amazed
Yeah.
how it really feels to fly in the real world. Spain, France, Europe, Germany, America, it doesn't matter where. In the end, you are with the nature, and that's the beauty part. And it's quiet, and I'm loving it. Loving
So
it.
Maybe we go back to
Mielniknos
the.
that we have
Sorry.
just in front of us on the live is from Hungary, and is qualified as well to the world final. He was the number 13 to qualify to the final. So we'll talk about it a bit later. But you can go on our website, which is virtualgliding.fai.org, and you can click on virtual SGP, and the web page has been updated for the world final, so it's brand new, and you can see actually the list of the 20 qualified pilots. There's still some of them still needs to accept the invitation, the official invitation for the final, because it's going to take them quite some time. It's going to be 7 races in a row over a week time. Some of them need to reply and to accept, but we expect amazing races there in Pavulo. We have rebuilt the airfield in Condor with a lot of new buildings all around the town and so on. It's going to be really crazy for this event. So yeah, Miali is qualified for the event. So we're gonna talk about him quite a lot.
Yeah,
End of August, beginning of September for the world final.
and he's the first pilot on the overall ranking of this World Series
Yeah,
2023 also. So
yeah, exactly. So just to show you how good the guy
yeah,
is, and I think we're gonna see him quite some time on top
yeah,
of the ranking. Yeah.
his, his flying has not to be proven.
Yeah, Kuba as well is qualified. He's been one of the first to qualify. He's been the 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 fifth guy to qualify to the world final. He's done. I think he's qualified through the event in Czar in Poland, so in his own country, and wow, he flew really well. And basically, this guy and Arthur Duke, who qualified as well, they flew quite a lot with Witold. We told Rozak from Poland, who qualified as well, obviously, one of the best pilots.
But he is really low right now. I mean, he has to find something or fly away from the mountain, huh?
Or maybe he just turned around and is going back to turn point 2 now.
Yeah, I
M-
mean, okay,
Maybe.
we're an hour and a half from the opening of the gate. So
Yeah,
some pilots already have flown an hour and a half.
yeah,
Others may have flown basically an hour 15 or an hour max.
Thank you,
And
Jim.
and considering that leg one is the longest leg of them all, but we still have to go really quite a bit up to leg two if you want to go to the center point before then turning home. Um, it is time to fly home, guys.
Yeah.
I'm looking at those at the cluster down here in the south corner, and I'm surprised to see so many
Yes.
pilots going that far south. Um,
And I love some strategies to go back home also because some of them have left the ridge going
yeah,
straight north, as
yeah,
you said.
yeah,
Whittle and other pilots went
back.
following the ridge.
Yeah,
Yeah, went back following the ridge. And we can see that PJ, Juliet, Alpha Zulu, and other pilots that just entered the first cycle and go straight to the second one are very advanced in the second cycle. So maybe they are dealing with how much time I have to fly in the second cycle, which what distance I need to make to arrive at exactly 2 hours right now. But they are thinking of the end of the race for them. And yeah, there is a lot of different
different
ideas,
strategy,
different
right,
strategies, and
yeah.
at this time I have no idea what could be the best. We'll discover at the end. Would be the magic of this IHC task.
yeah,
So let me ask
that's
you this,
really is.
Antoine. How are our viewers going to see who's going to win this task? Or will they have to wait to a later hour until all the pilots have uploaded their files, etc., for us
Yeah.
to be able to determine who won this
Yeah, so
competition?
for the World Series, it's a bit special because it's not like the virtual SGP final or whatsoever. We don't have the results straight away. We need to wait for the other servers to fly. So the Asian people, the American people, and so on, who are not on the European server to fly the task because they will receive the briefing later. They are very lucky because they can. Look at the stream a little bit to get some information, obviously, on a task like this when you see the reach. If you didn't see it before, if you've watched live, you've seen that there was a reach and it was working quite well for some pilots. So maybe the guys on the next server will use the reach more than some of the pilots tonight, because they will see that it's quite good. So we will only have the results, and it's the same for all races of the World Series. The next day at around 4 p.m. we have the results. So 16:00 UTC. And we usually publish the results on our social medias on Facebook and Instagram at around 6 p.m. The next day of each race of the World Series. So tomorrow we'll have the results for and the winner for this AAT task in Spain.
And here's beautiful. Thank you for that, Antoine. And here's beautiful to see that now where we're flying away from that ridge, it becomes a bit more flat, still hilly, but definitely the topography of this land is changing. And PJ just really pulled hard. He flew really, really fast. I'm surprised he's flying that fast. I mean, I don't know if that's a good light ratio for the JS15 to fly that fast, but I guess he's trying something. This is not a ridge flight, so it's not like fly, fly, fly fast. It's really here you want to fly an average of maybe, I don't know. I don't know if that's right, but he's leading right now, has flown, is closest to the finish line. Not that that means anything, but he's flying very, very fast.
Janus Zak. Yeah, he's flown some virtual SGP, but he didn't qualify, unfortunately for him, to the world final. He's like a lot of pilots. He needs to train and to fly a lot on those kind of events to gain more experience, to be able to get a chance to qualify for a final one day. So that's really good to see those outsiders being there and training, racing tonight to improve their skills. That's really nice.
So you already invited the 20 pilots to the final. So that means no matter how you score today, it doesn't matter if you win.
Yeah,
Can you?
no, so that's not the same event. Huh? So we have the World Series, which is uh, a contest that is kind of pre-worlds for next year, where we try a lot of things. It's just a trying event. This World Series, we just try things, and we go racing in 16 countries, 16 different countries to promote gliding around the world. But it's not the same as the virtual Sailplane Grand Prix, which is very elite sport, a very elite sport of gliding, the Sailplane Grand Prix. And we've had, you remember last year, 9 different qualifying events. And those events ended in South Africa in January, end of January. And then that was complete. They knew that they were qualified, but then we need to send the official event to confirm all the dates and so on, because we were not sure if we would do the event at the same time of the real with the real Sailplane Grand Prix, or 1 or 2 weeks later, make it a separate event and so on. And in the end, we decided to do it same as the first one, the first virtual SGP, so same dates in the evening of each race of the real Saint-Plain Grand Prix, to keep that parallel between the real and the virtual event for the final. So yeah, we are gonna only have 20 pilots with regatta start and crazy races in August and end of August, beginning September. So that's gonna be really, really good. And yeah, tomorrow I am actually working a lot with some people to do some graphic design, new countdowns, and new stuff for the live streamings for the special event, for the special World Final event. Uh, so I expect it to be really good, and we are putting a lot of effort in the world final, because it's really the main event where we expect the
Yeah.
most of the people to join and watch the live streaming as well. Because here, as you said, it's kind of a niche, and it's only the fans or the one who know gliding who are gonna watch the World Series or something that looks like World Gliding Championship. They are like 3 hours long and so on, but the virtual SGP is completely different, very, very public oriented and so on. So it's gonna be cool. It's gonna be cool. There's still a lot of work. We almost completely finished the landscape for Pavulo. As we said, we almost completed the briefing and the self briefing. I just need to film what I want to see as director of competition, meaning when we are doing the arrivals, so 20 pilots arriving almost at the same time, and they're gonna have to learn together. Some will have too much energy; they will need to make a low pass, and some will have to do a direct landing because they're lacking of energy. And it's an arrival, which is on a very small line at the beginning of the runway. The finish line is quite small and narrow, so I will make a film of this to show how I want the pilots to come to do a low pass and then come back and land safely, or how I want them to just land directly for runway 02 and runway 20 in Pavulo. I have already I've completed I think 90 to 95% of the work on that. There is quite a lot of things to review, and then it will be available for everyone on the web and on Discord if they want to have a look at it. And I will have a special meeting with all the pilots to talk about everything about that briefing and what we want to see and what we don't want to see, obviously. And they were all very kind, very, very happy to receive the official invitations, obviously, signed by the FAI and IGC. So it was, it was good.
Here's again beautiful to see what strategies each different pilots have chosen to take. If we go back to we see PJ and Jazz doing their thing. They nicked the first one, they flew through the second, and now they're on their home base. Yeah. What I really like is the DRS. That's the green line that nicked the first circle and then flew all the way to the right, my left, and hit the end of the turn point over there, which is parallel to the home stretch flying back home to turn point 3. So I like that one. We can see that Victor Romeo Victor on the bottom part, and again, who's still in turn point 1, literally is flying back the ridge, and he's going to probably do what Dave Jean-Dave said. He's going to fly straight to turn point 2 and then home.
I love how the pilots were following each other until the first cycle, and then when you touch the first cycle, they are spreading out on the entire map. That's fantastic. I think. You were speaking about the different strategies. The only one I do not understand is Romeo Papa Bravo on the left, because he reached the end of the ridge and he's still going left to reach I think the end of the first cycle. I don't know. I can't see the weather he's facing, but maybe he has a good reason to go on left. I would have been straight to the second cycle, but maybe he's facing a stronger wind, or I don't know. But
this is the thing about flying AAT task, and this is a very good example as to why what he's doing right now, flying further to the west, let's say, to the west. He's literally wasting time and space because he already went to the bottom of the turn point. That's the furthest distance you can fly, and whatever he flies further to the left, he's not gaining more distance. He's not gaining more points of distance. He's not. He has to fly it back. So he's losing every.
So guys, just some information on what you see on the screen. The distance between the second turn point, so just in the middle of the second turn point, and the third one, which is the reporting point just above the lake, then you can see that's 50 kilometers. Okay. And afterwards, from that reporting point to the finish ring, it's around 22 kilometers. So that's 72 kilometers from the middle of the second circle to the finish line. So we expect Papa Juliet to be maybe at around 50 kilometers, a bit less than 50 kilometers from the airfield. and is flying at 2020, 2254 meters right now. So it's probably on the glide from my point of view, more or less.
I don't think so because we have still the land is up 1,200 meters, so I
Let
don't
me
think he
check
gets
that.
final glide yet.
Let me
He
check
has
that.
only 1,000 meters, and he's not going to fly 70 kilometers with 1,000 meters. He doesn't have a 70-to-1 glider. Nope, not happening. So he probably has to find one more going up to 3,000, 3,200, and then he has final glide. That's my opinion.
Okay, that's a bet. I take it. I take your bet.
Okay. But I can see he's been flying for 2 hours and 40 minutes, 1 hour and 40 minutes. So, or maybe an hour and 30 minutes. And he probably needs still 20 to 30 minutes to go home. So here it is. He's going up, and it looks like a nice thermal, actually. If I see if this right, if he stays in that, that's a good thermal.
That's a good one.
Yeah, I would take that all the way to the top and then do the final glide. That's what I would do.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't fly probably
Yeah.
as fast. I
It
probably
was
would
too
pick a
low.
nice 170 or something like this, average speed, and just go home. Unless he finds so much lift that he can fly 200. But once you fly that fast, usually you lose a lot of height quickly. And it looks like the elevation, there's actually a little bit of elevation going up in there to go to the turn points and the finish line. So Janusz, back to Janusz.
Jazz. Nice one. Some nice cumulus clouds
Okay.
ahead.
Yeah.
The next one is not that great from what I see. So that's why he's aiming to the left. Yeah, he's aiming to the other one, which looks much better. And then going to turn point 3. That's really interesting.
There are still some choices on the end of this race.
Yeah.
But there's a new one building right there after the one that's falling apart. I would pick that one. I would fly to the right personally because it's more towards the center of the second turn point.
On the
And I
small
would pick
one,
that
yes.
new cloud that's developing right over the Pozo, Guarda del Pozo. You see it right there, that O?
Yeah.
That's a new cloud that's coming, usually nice and strong. It also looks higher than the other ones. That would be a good option.
But we can speak about that a bit. In a real glider, you have plenty of view around you. You can turn your head easily. In Condor, it's a bit harder if you do not have the virtual reality glasses. You can have the external view if you want, but it's a bit harder to seek the cumulus. At this level of competition, they are plenty aware of what they are doing and how to seek the good cumulus, but it's a bit harder. And I think he decided to go through another cumulus, maybe a better one. Okay, the lift is here.
Juan S. Osella, he might be Spanish. Is he?
Maybe. Can you check, Jean-David?
I will
On your
check.
net? Maybe.
No,
Maybe.
he's from Italy.
Ah.
Italian.
Or maybe he registered as an Italian guy, but he's Spanish because he wants to hide. No, because I asked if there was Spanish pilots who would like to come tonight to come on the race, so that's why I'm joking about it.
What
This
we
sentence
in
will
Southern
create a world
America?
war.
Sorry, in
Sorry?
Southern America, like Chile and all these areas,
Yeah.
there's some lots of gliding going on there, no?
Yeah, in Chile, yeah. Yeah, in Santiago for most of it. But yeah, there are some gliding trips to Chile from time to time. Yeah. Nice one for those guys. Do you have a bet for the final for the finish, Jean David, for tonight?
About the strategies or about the winners?
Yeah, maybe about the strategies ahead, and then for the winners afterwards.
I usually bet just when I am sure to win. And this is absolutely not the case right now. I don't know. I think the ridge were very good, and when you see the pilots and the experience they had, who fly the ridge along, I think that was a good idea. I would have done that, flying the ridge to the end of the first cycle and going straight, going shorter to the other leg. So I will bet on this option.
Yeah, I think that was the right thing to do tonight, actually. And as usual, I would have loved to fly the task tonight because the landscape is amazing. It looks really, really great, and the weather conditions are really good. And that ridge option was nice to fly. Looking at it, it was
Mm,
really nice. I really liked it, and I liked watching those pilots getting there and having the idea to go there as well. I think we would have missed something if everyone had turned quickly on the first turn point going to the second sector. Would have missed something, and
yeah,
it was really interesting to see them and to watch them doing that and taking those decisions. So I like it. I'm looking forward to see the not only the average speed but the time spent.
hmm
So
going to the
because
end of the
I'm
ridge.
afraid some of them maybe will fly 2 hours 10, 2 hours 20 minutes, and maybe that was too much, and they just should have flown half the kilometers they've flown on this reach. So looking forward to see that because I think we've had some infos from Timothée, and he told us when we were at the end of the reach that some of them had flown 1 hour and 10 minutes or 1 hour and 30 minutes, 1 hour 40 minutes for the first
Yeah,
ones ahead. So it was already quite a while. We should have the first arrivals in about yeah, less than 15 minutes if they want to have the
yeah,
two
but
hours.
correct me if I'm wrong, but if you are flying 2 hours and a half, for example, but you spend more time on the ridge and more time with a better average speed, it is not very important that you fly an half an hour more if you have spent more time doing a better average speed. So
Yes, yes, but
at the end,
for an AAT of like 3 hours or 4 hours, it's a really good point. But for only 1 hour and 30 or 2 hours, the margin is too small. And what you need to aim for
yeah,
is really the final glide. You need to have a final glide of 70 kilometers or so,
yeah,
because you're going to have an average speed that is absolutely crazy on that final glide that you cannot make in
yeah,
normal condition. Even with a ridge like we've had, like maybe with a bigger ridge, higher one, maybe that was true, but this one was too small, just
mm,
bringing some energy, but not enough. With 12 kilometers and that small reach, it was not enough to
you're
me
right.
with 2 hours.
And the
But
ratio
we
you
will see the results. Huh? We will see.
Yeah, the ratio you spend on the final glide is higher than on a longer task, as you mentioned. You're
Yeah,
right.
yeah, that's why.
That's crazy that we can't even know or even bet what will be the best decision or the best option right now.
Yeah,
The time I've spent and we can't can't predict with a great precision who will be the winner at the end.
yeah,
That's
and
fantastic.
you know that that's something we need to think about for next year. If we want some an event that is live streamed and that we want the public to understand and so on. Nowadays, in a World Lighting Championship, you need to have at least one third of AAT task. Okay, so in this World Series, we have like six races or seven races that have to be AAT tasks that is difficult to understand for the public, and you don't have the results straight after the race. So when you want to advertise the sport. It's difficult with this type of racing. It's something that the pilots like, again, but and not all of them. But it's something difficult to explain to the public, and to get the results, just to get the results quickly. So we need to think about how we can adapt this. Is it a good format to do a World Gliding Championship next year? Do we have to merge this with virtual SGP, or whatever? We need to think about it, because if we want the public to look at it, it's going to be a very important point for that. And second point is, well, myself, I never liked this type of racing, AAT, because I think it's you can be lucky in 2 hours. You can have a lot of luck. So if you are among the best uh, in a competition, maybe you will lose because someone will have more luck, and he will not maybe deserve to have this luck at the end of the event if you've had only like three races in a week or so on. And secondly, there is just too much impact. The final glide has way too much impact on your overall score, and you get so much points for the few kilometers that you win compared to everyone else. It's absolutely crazy, because in a racing task, the distance is very important, and then the average speed gets you just that more points. But in an AAT task, you don't care. You don't really care about the distance. You just need to have the biggest average speed, and it's like distance is this and average speed is this. And for 1 kilometer, you can just lose like 100 points. It's absolutely crazy. And in a racing task, it's not like this. Even in SGP, it's not like this. It's really crazy difference in performance and in points that you get at the end of the day with AAT. That's why some pilots love it, or don't like it. But to me, it's always been uh, it's never been my favorite type of racing, obviously, just because of that final glide, and the risks that you must take to get 100 point more than the other, or so on. And it's often during very risky days that you are doing those tasks in real life. It's when it gets when you have bad weather, when you have thunderstorms, they do those AAT tasks. So that's why they exist, actually, I believe, in my
Yeah.
opinion. But
Yeah, yes. Speaking, responding to you, for the ranking live during the race, it could be done with some calculation and some interpretation of the track during the live, but this
yeah,
is a tool that we need to develop, and it's take a lot of time, a lot of
for the
energy, and a lot
AAT.
of
Yeah.
knowledge. Yeah, for specifically for the IAT, yeah, it can be developed. It's not impossible mathematically, but it's a lot of work. And if some of the viewers have some knowledge about how to compute that, and if they have time and they want to join us the team to develop this type of tool to help us streaming, it would be very, very grateful. But it could be done. Just
Hmm.
technically, we haven't done yet. It could
Yeah.
be
Yeah.
an idea to improve this.
That's something that is easy to do, because there is a satellite. There is some PDA GPS that can do that. But anyway, let's go to the live.
I just asked to put up this list. This is the Women's World Gliding Champion
Yeah,
list of today, the active list. And you can see all these pilots that
all
are
these
actually
women
competing right
competing.
now
Yeah,
in Spain. And it's good to see that. There's quite a bit of women on that. Lots of
yeah,
Germans, Czech, Germans, Polish, United Kingdom, France, Spain. So it's a really, really, and you can see what gliders they're flying. Um, if anybody's interested of more information, you can go to soaringspot.com, where they have all the information and the latest scoring of the last days of the tasks. So I thought it was very good to see all the women, since we talked about that earlier, all the women that are trying to become the world gliding champion.
yeah.
Super exciting, very strong list, and surprising to see some
Okay.
GG300s and ASW 20s to compete in this. You can
Yeah.
see the handicap scores is different. Um, so people are taking on.
Can we have a look at the results for today in each class, please, Tim? Just before the first arrivals in
You know,
Yeah, in task and results here on the web page, and just go on daily for task. It's been cancelled
Yeah, yeah.
from what I see. It's been
Well, you
in
can see
standard
in task 3 and 4, 4 and
yeah,
5,
in,
not
in
not
standard
happening.
class in standard class they flew from what I see. So they cancelled the club class. Okay, so that was the race. Okay, and go to daily, just daily on top left. Yeah, you have daily there. Perfect. So we have Lizzie van Zomeren from the Netherlands, then Johanna Biederman, Oden Terze, Marlene Abadi-Berard, and Anaïs Gobert. Sabrina Vogt. Okay, that's really good in standard class.
Odun Thursday
And
with
it
the
was
first at
and
average of the
and it
overall.
was an AAT of 2 hours. Huh? 2 hours from 133 kilometers to 337 kilometers. Nominal, so the right in the middle is 235 kilometers, and for us, the one in the middle is 289 kilometers. So as you see, they've cancelled some races today, and the standard class they've flown, and they've flown what? An AAT of 2 hours. That's what I said. It's when you can get lucky and get some points and get a lot of points because it's a speed task, assigned area task where the speed counts a lot. And it's when you have bad weather every time and the luck is always there and you need to take big risk on the final rally. It's crazy. We are always using this for that. It's crazy. Just and we are using it as well because you need to have 1/3 of AAT in a world championship. And then you're stuck in between when do I need to use this type of racing? And as no one wants to use it, we only use it when it's bad weather. It's crazy. So today it's good weather and they can choose in virtual gliding where they want to go and they chose to go on the ridge. And that's what we like to see. Actually, today for us, it's quite nice because we can see different choices and the weather does not dictate the race.
Yeah.
The we- uh, the
Uh,
pilots dictate and choose what they're gonna do. So that's really good for us
It's a
actually on glide.
combination, no? It's a combination of weather and pilots rather than,
Obviously,
you know.
as
But
usual in gliding.
we saw Pierre Jean, who has been the leading edge of trying to get to the finish line, and he's following it, and I'm pretty sure he's close to his 2 hours because he left quite early, and he is what 3-4 minutes away from his 2 hours, and he's getting close to the finishing circle, and he looks like he's on final glide. So I think I was right because he took another nice last thermal up to about 3,000 and
yeah.
is doing his glide. So I took that bet and I think I won. So you pay for the next lift.
uh, and Tim, do we know if the distance flown in AAT that we have below is the correct one? That they are
No,
flown in the
I
AAT?
don't think so.
I think no, I don't think so because it's 289. The yeah. So no. So at least we can deduct from that with 289 kilometers is almost here, less than 20 kilometers away from the finish ring. So that's quite good.
But at least that's what he's definitely on his final glide. He's gonna make it, and we'll find out tomorrow at
Yeah.
16 UTC what the overall scoring will be. But it's
Yeah.
nice to see that he makes it. He's sticking to his 2 hours, which is good. And we'll see other gliders and pilots choosing the more distance, the higher speed, and possibly more time. So
Mhm.
very nice.
Mhm.
Yeah, it is
Uh,
very
uh,
nice race. I was afraid at the beginning. I saw this quasi homogeneous sky with equally distanced cumulus, and I thought that the landscape was more flat than this. I don't think that the ridge would be a very interesting option because I have not all the knowledge that the pilots who are flying today have. But finally, a lot of decisions have been made, a lot of options have been took, different strategies after the turn point one, and we didn't see a list of pilots who were flying behind each other. It was very interesting, and the AHC task was a good option today to not be boring.
Yeah, yeah, no,
I like
it's
it.
really just getting back to the results on soaring spot for the women world gliding championship. Mark said, and he's right, that the 18-meter class flew as well. So they consult the club class, yeah, and yeah, the club class and the 18-meter class flew, and it was as well 2 hours of assigned area task with 289 kilometers as nominal, just like us, and a gap of 180, well, 190 kilometers to 390 kilometers. So big circles that they have at today, and it's really interesting, and it's the same area today for the 18 meters class than what we are doing tonight. And they go just above the lake to come back to Soria. So we are actually on the final leg of the woman who flew today, the 18-meter class.
Quick thing, Mark Till says on YouTube that our friend 007 is only 250 meters above ground level. Can we tune
Yeah,
into that for a second? Because Pierre-Jean Vincent is good to see, but I think we might watch somebody land out. Can we tune into that? That
it,
is 007.
on 007, 007 team. Okay. We, we will try to have a look at it, but it's very far away from now, so so we will see that.
Oh,
Maybe
he's
we
all the
can
way in
look
the
at
second
the.
circle to the left. Okay.
Okay. Okay.
So we go to Pierre-Jean, who will pass the finish line in a few seconds.
Yeah, we can do that. Go back to Pierre-Jean. But it's good to see the strategies that people use here. Interesting.
So just to get back to the women world gliding championship, just to say thank you to Mark, because he's created a lot of tasks on this landscape for other events in the past. And when we started to talk about this race and prepare the race, it was like, okay, I'm gonna do it if you want, because I know very well the area, and it's really nice because he has created this race on his own, the AAT of 2 hours. I gave him the parameters, and he created the task on his own, and the zone, the areas where the guys tonight were about to fly in virtual, and it chose to go where the ladies are going today, but he didn't know. He didn't know. So it means he's done a really good job, and yeah, I would like to thank him for the job he's done and for the race tonight, because it was really nice to follow for us. And I think he's not going in the right direction. He's just on the left.
Yeah, maybe we should focus on the end of the race, but we don't know where is he going.
Maybe
The
he needs
idea.
to climb higher.
Oh yeah, but
He has
He's
some
it's
more minutes left, so he
Yeah,
doesn't
he's
know what to
flying
do.
around it. He's trying to get the furthest distance before he enters the circle. If
Eh,
people wonder why is he not turning, he
yeah,
needs extra time to
that's why.
fly. He's using extra distance and
but
time because he's too early.
do you receive
Okay.
a real penalty, or your time just go to 2 hours?
You just go to 2 hours. No
Because here
penalty.
he didn't score more distance, so passing the line
Yeah,
just a few minutes before is the same.
yeah. For me, it's the same. It's the exact
No,
same. So
if you
Pierre-Jean, you
enter
can
from the
go.
back, you get more
No, no,
distance.
no,
No, no,
no.
no.
For me, it's the same. No, no, no. Because this way you avoid people from doing this, because it's not the point. The point is that you calculate your task before, and
Yeah,
it's not when you arrive, when you have 5 minutes left, that you do the tour around the circle.
yeah. To
It's
my
not like
knowledge,
this.
it's always going back to
Yeah,
the points which is closer to the previous turn points.
yeah. No, to me, it cannot work like this. I would be very surprised, and if it works, we need to. I will. No, no, but I'm not joking. I will have a very close look to his
Yeah,
FTR file and IGC file, because we need to check if Condor Club is doing the job compared to the FAI regulations, and we need to make sure about that for next year for the World Championship. So that's actually why we are doing World Series like this, because we need to check that all the parameters and the rules are good and are respected, and that when we do the scoring, it works perfectly. So that's really good. Thank you, Pierre Jean. Very good idea.
On TV, Piazon is just doing a full cycle just for the
Yeah,
show, just for us to
yeah.
comment.
Just for the
And
show. So thank you, Pierre-Jean.
No, he's doing a half circle. He's flying around halfway to enter on the furthest point away. You can do
yeah,
that.
you're right. That's very interesting because it's not the real FAI rule, I think.
He flew around the circle, entered it from the furthest point
I never saw
reachable.
that before.
So you can do that, and that's an extra. In this case, how big is the circle? The last one, 5K. So that's an extra
Oh,
5K
that's
he
that
flew.
3K, 3K,
3K. So he flew
I believe.
more distance, but added 3K to his distance.
Yeah, but it was the same, I think, otherwise. On the other side, it was 3K as well. It just doesn't count the last one in AAT. I know it sounds stupid when I hear you and you say that argument, but I think it's the same. So I will have to check to make sure. That's very interesting, actually. This case is really interesting because it never happens in real life. Just the pilots, they go and they land, they don't make the turnaround.
Mm.
So maybe if it works, it's really nice, but
I think it
I,
does
I
work
doubt
that
it.
way because when I flew the AAT test, that
W-
that that was mentioned, and that during you can fly around the circle to get more distance if you have the
Oh,
time.
we will see. I will have a look at this.
And Mark tell us on the
Mm.
chat that someone did that in the training yesterday too. So
Oh, okay.
it looks to be a
Something they
common,
know,
yeah.
something they can do, but I'm not sure they can do that. So I'm gonna have to check. Very good landing, otherwise, Papa Juliet. Very good. Let's have a look at Juan. Treat Juliet. Good speed, very good speed. Tim, do you have a time for him for Treat Juliet? 1 hour or
Yeah,
50? 1 hour 59 minutes. So he's gonna be on time at 2 hours
yeah.
when reaching the point. So that's really
Uh,
good timing.
with a
Really
very
good.
good
So
speed, yeah, on the final
yeah,
glide.
congratulations, Juan, because it's very difficult to do, in my opinion, to get that very good timing like this. And he's flying very fast, almost at VNE. So nice glide.
Yeah, to be basically on the dot of 2 hours, that's very impressive. When I
Yeah.
flew the AAT task in real life about 2 months ago, I flew 2 hours and 5 minutes. That was pretty good, I thought too.
Yeah, and that's
Mhm.
already pretty good, huh, to do 2 hours and 5 minutes. It's very difficult to get the plus or minus 5, and it's better to do +5 than -5, obviously.
That's probably why I won.
And that's that. He did 2 hours and 5 seconds? Okay,
Oh,
-5 seconds. That's
that's
okay.
a
So
penalty.
That's
That's
acceptable to me.
yeah, yeah,
that's a
That's bad.
penalty.
Oh, that's
pretty
bad. I
correct.
don't want to see this.
That's 5 seconds. You should have gone.
Very
Bummer.
good.
Yeah, well done, Fran.
So yeah, we will get the speed tomorrow, guys. You will have to wait tomorrow to get the results because first of all we don't know, and second of all we don't want to unveil for the next people, next pilots flying the next uh, servers in other
Right, right,
parts
right.
of the world.
So 007 is still soaring, but he's probably very low the way it looks, 1,054 meters. And he's going down now. I think he's landing out the way this one looks.
He's fighting.
I wouldn't mind seeing that if his fight. I would like to
Yeah.
see if he's landing out or not, if you be so kind. And 007. See if he's 1,000 meters. He's not high. He's very low.
He's passing through above a valley, which is at 800 meters. So because of the ground going lower, he has gained some height.
Nice. And we can see on top is F9. Foxtrot 9, and he's really okay. There's
Ay,
a
ay, ay,
cloud.
007, 007. Ay, 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 ay.
He's fighting. He's fighting.
High.
He's
Europe,
high.
Europe high.
It's not so high. Yeah,
He's
don't
not so
forget the
high
gear,
right
man. Don't forget the gear, Michael. I think he's from.
now.
I think he's from Bulgaria, Michael Yankov.
Come on, is there a cloud above him? What is there? Can you go below him to see if there's a cloud?
No,
Nothing.
I think it's the end of the day for him.
Unless he gets lucky. But
It needs
Very
to be
lucky.
very.
oh, right here, 0.5, 0.4, 0.1. Come on, turn.
Good luck, man.
Yeah, I mean, if you get that low, sometimes you get lucky, but the chances are that's he's landing out.
Yeah. Let's not miss another pilot if someone is very close to the line. Otherwise, we can.
Oh yeah, we have
Ah,
Jazz
yes,
and yeah, we
Jazz
have some
coming.
people.
And then just behind X-Ray, Bravo X-Ray.
And
Okay.
yes,
Then Alpha Mike, Marcin May, Fox 9. Yeah, Vitold is ahead, but I cannot see. He is, I think, next to Alex.
yes, to
Ah,
There you go.
yes,
CVV.
Jazz.
Wow.
He's very high, isn't he?
Yeah, very
Is
high. Maybe it's too high.
Yeah, but maybe it's the time. We don't know his time,
Yeah, yeah.
so this is a very interesting dynamic. You can see he approached the finish line with a very high altitude, high speed and high altitude. So since he had so much height, would have been better to have flown further into the second turn point to get more distance.
yeah,
Things like that, right? I mean, these are the little nuances that you have to consider when you're flying an AAT task, and it's not that easy, folks. It's definitely an art to combine all those variables in an AAT task. That's why I like it personally.
yeah,
It's not just cut and
exactly.
dry. It's not so dry.
Okay, so yeah, he missed the 2 hour spot by 11 seconds, but it's not that bad. Who's next? Amazing. So Chris Pearson just arrived. Very good. Very good. Well done. 2 hours and 6 minutes for Chris. Who is just behind him? I think it's gonna. A lot of people, a lot of pilots are gonna arrive. Okay, he's at the reporting point just over the lake. Dennis Simmons. Very good.
I think he's the American, isn't he? Tennis Siemens? I think he's American.
I
Uh,
will check that.
I think he's either American or from the Netherlands. It was one or the other in my mind.
Oh, he's American.
American. Well done.
Yeah. Dennis Simons, United States.
Yeah, I have flown with him on some of the tasks and also the group that they have on Discord. No, on the speak team speak 3. They have
Yeah.
a US team there.
Speak to him. Okay. Well, he's a bit low for this final final glide.
He's very fast, so he can pull up.
Yeah, but that's 22 kilometers. So now 20 kilometers to do. Huh?
Only 300 meters.
19 kilometers to do now.
Okay.
That's what
Yeah.
you better let the air out.
He is fast, but not like 280 kilometers per
Yeah,
hour. He's doesn't have a lot of margin. We will see. Maybe it will work for him. And who's just behind him? If you have the info. That
Selimbowski,
Xavier.
a way
I
better position.
much better. Yeah. Don't make the mistake to push Xavier because you see someone just ahead lower and you think he will make it as well. Yeah, that happens a lot in real life as well. So
Well,
And
hopefully you have
then
your
when
board computer set up that you know
no,
that
no,
you have.
trust me, this happens as well. And then when you land on the ground, uh, you believe that you've done something really good and you made it until the end, and it was a good calculation because you didn't have to take any thermals. But in the end, when you talk to the other pilot, he's like, "Oh man, I thought we would never make it. I will never do that again," and so on. And for you, because you were following him, it was okay because you were trusting him that it was correct. And it happens quite a lot in all championships. It's crazy to see. We often talk about this issue in threats and error management, and yeah, things that the pilots do, because just the cheaper effect, we call it, correct? When you just follow someone without thinking about it yourself, is it a good plan or not? It's really fun. Xavier, good job.
It seems like 007 will be landing out. He only has 150 meters left, 450
Yeah.
feet. In real life, you definitely have your gear down and you're
Yeah,
focusing on doing your final approach to the
yeah.
land.
He's following a highway, so
Uh,
I guess he will land on the.
Yeah, probably wants to land next to the highway too, so that it's easier afterwards. Yeah, it's gonna be fun for Denis. And who is behind Xavier now? Okay, Marcin, and can we have a look just behind if you turn the not behind? Okay, there's quite some margin. That's Vitold just behind. Then Charlie Victor Victor. Okay,
Don't
okay.
look back, Marcin. Could be a bit stressful to see all these pilots behind.
Okay, yeah, thank you, team. So that's the reporting point, or point 3, towards the airfield. But as you can see, they're all flying straight to it, behind him. So that's really good. Yeah, that's Vitold. Huh? He's about to reach turn point 3. It's gonna be nice. He's gonna fly fast.
Victor Romeo Victor, I have to say, Vitold. I mean, he's gonna nick only turn point 3 the way this looks because he has
Yeah.
plenty of time. And 007 has landed, by the way. Time to say goodbye to
Okay.
007. But Victor Romeo Victor, he was really one of the people that started midfield, and he's showing up, and he flew all the way to the end of turn point 2, 1,
Yeah.
and he flew the ridge.
Yeah, super flight.
Super flight. So yeah, super flight. So my bet, close to that. Could be also Helmut or Frank because they took off late.
Mhm.
But again, it's the distance. We do not know the distance. But look at that. He's flying 17 kilometers. He's going to make it. For sure. That is amazing.
Thank you,
Having such
team.
a strong glide ratio. I think
Yeah.
something is that something that will be adjusted in the new version of Condor, where it feels like they're going a lot by the glide ratio of the glider, but in natural weather, the sink sometimes is so much more dominant than we're experiencing in these gliders. The sink here is sometimes like hardly any. It's just minimum sink rather than real sink.
Nice, Denis. Yeah.
Et voilà.
Phew, done.
Yeah. Xavier.
Xavier and then yeah, Witold and Arne Martin Güttler.
Yeah,
Is
Arne Martin is not far from Vitold, from what Mark
super
can
strong.
see.
Super
Yeah,
strong
Arne Martin is
pilots.
really good as well. He's flying quite a lot. He is about a J3 in real life, Arne Martin.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I've been in contact with him in person. His club sold me a
Oh yeah.
used Becker radio. Very cool. I'm like, yes,
Yeah,
getting
that was really fun and nice to hear, actually, because of the regulation that changed in Europe and so on, that you
yes,
were able to buy that. It's really cool, really cool.
and very nice of the club to do that. And
Yeah.
and through the gliding community in the virtual world, I was able to reach out and ask around because I'm like, somebody has one of those, and bam,
Yeah,
we do. I'm like, oh, I'll take it. And they're like,
that's really
okay.
nice. Huh?
Super. I mean, it came in a nice box, really well packed with lots of stuffing around it because and it works. I mean, it's in my glider now, and it works, and it's like super. I mean, and having communication on your thumb is so much easier than having your little radio on your chest and
Oh, that's
only
for
going.
sure. That's for
It
sure.
doesn't go the distance. People don't hear you,
Yeah.
and when you fly team or when you fly with friends, and they're 20 miles away or 30, 40 kilometers on a little handheld, they don't
Yeah.
hear you.
No,
And
no.
you want to say, hey guys, where are you? I want to catch up, or vice versa. I'm over here, catch up. It's very important to have good communication up in the sky. And
Yeah.
with that new Hughes Becker radio, I'm like, yeah, I'm so happy.
Yeah, no, that's absolutely true. Marcin is here, and can we have a look on Arne Martin following Vitold quickly? Oh, so where is Vitold? Ah, it's just ahead.
Oh,
Victor
yeah,
Romeo
it's
Victor.
ahead.
Whiskey Romeo Whiskey. Sorry. Okay, so yeah, so he's ahead. Well, we can go back to Vitold then, maybe for this arrival with a view on DRS. Really nice. Do you have the time for those guys? DRS, Vitold and Arne Martin? Okay. So 2 hours 6 minutes for Arne Martin right now. That's good.
And yeah, Vitold is what, 2 hours and what? 2 hours and 1 minute or something?
2 hours 4 minutes.
Wow,
Okay.
incredible! Going all the way on the ridge at the end and managing to arrive at 2 hours and 6 minutes. Great.
It's very impressive. Good timing,
Yeah, yeah.
good distance, as always, good speed. Uh, so he has a good chance to be in the top five, if not the winner. We don't know, but
Yeah. Yeah. He always has good chance to win the top five. That's the problem with him. Very difficult to compete. Very, very difficult. Nice. So yeah, we are watching some more arrivals, and then we'll end up the live. Just talking about the World Series. So today was race 9 of the World Series in Soria, Spain, where the World Women Gliding Championship takes place. And the next race of the World Series is going to be on the 7th of August. So in a month plus 1 day, in Arnborg in
wow.
Denmark. Because in
I
Denmark,
love that. So thank you. I love that view right there. Like, I'm gonna get you. I'm gonna get you. They're flying max speed
and that's Eco Quebec, right?
Yeah, Emmanuel Cartier right now.
Emmanuel, amazing. Thank you, Tim. I'm
super
gonna
nice
talk about
view.
the World Series afterwards. Let's
Yeah,
have a look at this.
gotta love that. And I
No,
love that when it
that's
actually happens.
Formula One, man. That's Formula One.
That's it. When you fly it in real life, I love when you catch up with a glider and you have the little differences and somebody catching a lift and the other one is finding some sink, and you see the difference how the gliders are,
Yeah.
I love that flying in this combination. Um, One of the most
Wow.
funnest times when you're in the real air. And EQ is definitely let go of some water to get higher, huh? Interesting.
Yeah, exactly.
But he lost speed.
I think it was 1,300 meters indeed, because yeah, one of them that we watched was just below at 1,220.
Oh, there's a minimum height. Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think so.
Minimum arrival height. You're right. So congratulations to both Arne Martin Güttler and
Yeah, and Emmanuel Cartier. Yeah,
Yeah,
very good
congrats.
job. Very, very good job. So just yeah, talking about the next race, race 10. So in Denmark, Hamburg, next month on the 7th of August for the World Series, and we will talk about the Junior World Gliding Championship. Hey, not the women, but the juniors, and hopefully we may have some juniors coming.
a friend of mine from our club. Sorry to throw in there. A friend of mine in our club. His name is Stefan Tellman.
Yeah.
He is trying to get into the junior world championship
Okay.
in real life, and he's actually on the board for the juniors as a spokesperson. And
So
he's only
that's good.
16 years old, 17
Yeah.
now, and him and I kind of like flew together as students when he became a when he got his pilot's license, and I was just becoming
Mhm.
a young student pilot as well. So it's a year and a half ago, and now he's trying to enter the world championship, and he's flying a DG 300, DG 400. Sorry, it's DG 400.
Yeah,
300,
yeah, both those exist.
Yeah, and so it's nice.
Probably the 300. Probably the
Yeah,
300.
it's the 315-meter class,
Yeah.
and we've been practicing together here and there, and it's nice to have a compadre like this next to you, and young gun, and I'm the old guy, and we're flying together and practicing. It's kind of cool.
That's really nice. Arne Martin is with us here on the live. About to land. So Denmark is the next race. Then we're gonna have Poland in October, but just in between, end of August and the beginning of September, we're gonna have the world final event of the virtual sailplane Grand Prix. It's gonna be a big and amazing event where we're gonna follow here. So I talked about it a little bit. We're gonna have new animations and a lot of things around. Uh, and probably some more stuff, maybe some stuff to win for the pilots, for the public as well, for the fans. So it's gonna be something big. I hope you're gonna be there with us. So first of all, see you next month for Denmark, and there's gonna be a lot of communication coming in the next few days and next few weeks about the virtual Sailplane Grand Prix World Final 2023. Thank you for joining us tonight,
Yeah.
Jean-David. First of all, thank you.
Remember
Thanks,
to check in
Antoine.
tomorrow on our Facebook pages and
Yeah,
whatnot to see the score, the final score. And if you have never tried it, try Condor. Go check it out and like and subscribe. No.
yeah, you can go on our website. So that's virtualgliding.fai.org for the website. Virtual gliding just above my head, or you just type FAI virtual gliding on Google, and you will find it very quickly. And you can join and fly for free the World Series. You can just try it out with Condor. It's free for everyone, and you join the race and you try to fight and someday to win that, and then you qualify for world final event to be the world champion. So that's a big way to go up there, but you need some training and you need to come and join us to discover this great sport and the competitions around it. So thank you everyone for following us tonight, and and we will see you to talk about the FAI Sailplane Grand Prix later on. Okay,
Yeah, his Formula
Norman.
One, he's into it. Yeah,
It,
Formula
Yeah,
One, man.
it's
exactly.
Formula One. So Norman, Jean-David, and Timothée, thank you very much for tonight, and we see you all in a month. Thank you for coming tonight. It was really nice to be the three of us. Uh, it's a really nice studio for three people, so
Yeah,
it's amazing.
it's
Thank you,
better.
guys. Thank
You're
you,
welcome,
and
and thank you all to you. See you
Thank you,
out there. Fly
everyone.
safe.
see you.
Bye.